Everybody, welcome back to the Project Manga podcast, where we cover One Piece, My Hero, Black Clover, Mashle, Chainsaw Man, and Jujutsu Kaisen week to week. Back this week, covering Weekly Shonen Jump issue number 50. I'm your host, Eagle.
What up, y'all? It's Kiko.
Noxie.
And Nickums.
And as always, before we get started, we would just like to say go ahead and visit that link tree in the description box down below, where you can find links to any and all of our online communities, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the podcast if you would be so inclined, like the link to our Patreon, where you can subscribe and get content that ranges from early access to our content all the way up to a second shonen-centric weekly podcast that we do. So with all those words said, also check for timestamps down there as well. You can find those that'll let you skip to segments that you want to hear and not get spoiled. So yeah.
Yes.
With all that said, how y'all feeling about this weekend jump, man?
This is an awkward week.
It is.
Little short.
BC on break, man.
Yeah.
Jujutsu on this weird ass bullshit, man.
Yeah.
Gege, what the fuck?
I don't think Jujutsu's taken a single break since
It hasn't.
it started.
Other than COVID, which everybody took a break. And
Sure.
that's the
Yeah.
only one.
At the very least, since we started covering it. But this, I liked this. I liked this little like 0.1 chapter. I think it's cool how I think the comedy in it was like really good because of how meta and like fourth wall breaky it was. The double spreads on it were hilarious, especially Toto with the buns out,
with the thick thighs on that. Like his, okay. Let me just. This is gonna sound weird, but like his thigh muscles are coming up higher than his ass.
Oh yeah,
He's got them thick joints.
Yeah,
tree trunk thighs.
He'll kick you.
Sun's out, buns
That's very
out.
observant.
Yeah,
Very observant of you.
yeah. The elevation
I
on
will
that
say-
thigh meat.
And also,
I will say I did already order the calendar. I mean, I got the Toto calendar on the way. What could you do, right? Like,
Dude, imagine a Toto. Yo, I feel like I want to like get this like edited.
Kaizoku made one.
Kaizoku did?
Yeah.
Oh my
Tell him to drop
god.
before you in the Discord,
Yes,
bro.
please. Oh my god. So I was confused by this bonus Sukuna bored out of his mind. I mean, I guess I wasn't really confused, but like basically he's hearing, things going on outside in the real world, but not as sharp as before. I choose who to save. Unlike you guys, I'm bearing the least burden. That's why. So like these are like famous dialogues from the manga, right? And this is just showing like how Sukuna reacted to those things in like a funny way. And he's like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about? This is so stupid." That's what he's doing basically. Like, shut up.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what did he just? Like,
It's hard for me to imagine where like "rah" comes from. You know what I mean?
Oh
like,
yeah, I
don't
just
know
remember.
what
I remember this dialogue. I choose who to save. Unlike you guys, I'm bearing the least burden. That's why I remember that line of dialogue. But
did Yuji scream like "rah" when Nanami got killed?
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, it could
Something
be
like that. It had to have been something traumatic.
Yeah, this could be like
But,
recent Sukuna. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just like the last page, from the ending or the anime.
Yeah. Hell yeah, Lost
ending.
in Paradise. Fuck yeah. Love it. But yeah, I don't know. Not a whole lot to that chapter, obviously, but super funny. Yeah.
just a little commemorative chapter for the anime, releasing. I will say that Gege did get in their bag on this double spread for pages 4 and 5.
Yeah, for sure.
That was just Gojo saying, let's use the pages space to our heart's content. Like,
Yeah. I love the effect on that dialogue bubble. It's so like extra. I feel like there's so much like extra like shit that like doesn't need to be exaggerated that much, but probably just like done it because like there's not that much professionalism involved here, but it's just like do something wild, take up all the space, let's do whatever we want type shit. Yeah,
Right.
Man, holy shit. And I'm just like, I just flipped to the end page of this chapter on the website and it just shows you the volume cover for the latest volume, and I'm just saying, like, this volume 6 cover of Jujutsu Kaisen looks fucking dope.
yeah, the Mahito one. Yeah, that's one of the better ones for sure.
I'm gonna have to cop that joint.
Yes, it is out now, I believe.
Yeah. Well, shit. I think we don't. There's not too much to talk about this chapter. Obviously, we can probably just go ahead and move right into Chainsaw Man, chapter 93. You and crappy movies.
Yeah, there's on the surface doesn't look like there's a lot to this chapter, but there's a few little things here. The main thing I'd like to talk about really is the terrible movie, the crappy movie part of this, because it takes you back to chapter, I wrote it down, 39, when Denji and Makima went on a date and watched a series of terrible movies together.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And so like having that callback is good because there's I think there's some hidden significance within that the question Denji asked Makima, like, is there gonna be shitty movies in this fucking magical perfect world of yours, right? And Makima's like, no, basically, like, and ideally there would only be great movies in my world, really. Yeah. So I think this does a couple things. I think the lesser of the two, the easy one, I would say, is it reinforces Denji's resolve to kill her, because she's basically saying our time together meant nothing. Sure. Because we sat together through these shitty movies. We went on this date, whatever. Right. And then the actual,
you ain't shit to me. You a shit stain.
Yeah, definitely. And I think also the bigger thing it does is kind of just give us a look into like Denji possibly, maybe inadvertently, having Makima kind of look in within herself and find her own self-doubt with like a control devil is like, seems crazy to think that she would have any. She's got this grandiose plan that's who knows how long she's had this plan under her belt. And it's she wants life to be stagnant. She doesn't want peaks or valleys, like she wants kind of I don't know, like a
middle of the line.
Purgatory's probably going too far, but something where it's just like no happiness or sadness. We're just stagnant and live that way. So
I like that you brought that up because I don't think Denji was necessarily trying to get so deep into it, but it does call to question like say there were only good movies, you know what I mean? Yeah. Then that kind of means to a large degree that there are no good movies. They're just movies. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like
exactly.
Can't you think that like a big part of movie watching is like, I love that shitty movie, or that movie was terrible. Like, oh, I've only walked out of one movie in my life in the theater, right? Like, shit, like Perfect Black or Darker Than Black or so, I don't know, some horror movie from the 2000s that was just absolutely terrible. Anyway, but like it's fun to rip on bad movies, and it's fun to watch cult classics, and so like you need good and bad things. Otherwise, life is gray and boring.
There's no frame of reference, right?
Yeah.
There has to be good. In order for there to be good and great things, there needs to be bad things. Because
and this this I think Makima, realizing that she has some self-doubt. This basically, I feel like, is foreshadowed in the fact that they watched all these shitty movies, maybe 10 movies in a row, and then that last one, they both cried. Denji and Makima
That's right.
were
They
crying
did both have tears. I think I remember that.
On that last movie, and they were saying like, this is basically a masterpiece. Like, this was a great movie. It made watching all those other shitty movies worth it, right? So
yes, exactly that point.
Exactly. That is life, right? Like, you have to live through X amount of fucking shitty things. You got to have some valleys in order for those peaks to hit. Yeah, and that's just like what Kobeni was saying last chapter. This is just how life is. There is no life where it's just always happiness. Like you definitely have to take the good with the bad. And for the fact that Makima is really trying to push this utopia, which the way she's going about it doesn't seem, very, I don't know. It doesn't seem like utopia at all to me personally. I don't know. And so like just she crying there, I think is, maybe foreshadowing into the fact that she doesn't have it all together. There is some lingering, emptiness within her, something, and it's so weird to think about, like, because we believe Makima to be a human for so long until we get the control devil talk, right? And I mean, there's so much speculation we did, of course, along the way, but like, it was never off the table that she was a human. Most of the time, I think people theorize that she was a human with a devil contract, not a devil herself. Like, to humanize a devil, you have to go and think back, because there isn't a lot of humanizing of her right now, right? Like, she's just so cold and calculated, and this is this, and I don't feel shit, and this is what we're gonna have. This is how we're gonna do it. So like, looking back, there is something within these devils that is human, and that's I just can't wait to see that delved into a little bit more. Maybe it will, maybe we won't. It's Fujimoto.
You never know with this kid, man. I love how this chapter reinforces like Denji's like motivations. You know what I'm saying? Like he's like, I want to be Chainsaw Man. How can I kill Makima so that I can be Chainsaw Man? It's not like Makima ruined my life. She manipulated me. I need revenge on Makima because she's a terrible person and a shitty, devil piece of blah, blah, blah. No, it's like, oh my God, girls like me. I can have sex with these girls. If I get Makima out of here, how do I kill Makima so that I can have sex?
It's a great look into his actual mind state, where before he's always kind of been like, oh, I'm not, I don't really want much. I'm kind of a humble person. All I need is like, maybe a good burger and this and that. But now he's like, nah, like I'm trying to have steak every morning, dog. I'm trying to fuck these hoes. What are you talking about? He's like, nah, hold on, bro.
He is kind of upgrading his, you know what I'm saying? His worth.
Showing his like true human like greed, right? Like everybody else in the fucking world. Wants everything. I think there's have way too much.
I think there's a little more to it than that. Like I'm very happy that he, after all this, he has not just all of a sudden made some crazy far-fetched change into this intellectual character, because that just shouldn't. People thought that was going to happen, as far as like people on Twitter, like, oh man, I thought his character was going to change, and it's like, well, change. He is changing. Like this is a step in the right direction. It doesn't kind of really seem like that, but
they thought there was going to be this drastic difference.
And that's just doesn't seem realistic, especially when it's like, okay, like Eagle said, he wanted a burger, he wanted a date, he wanted to touch some boobs, whatever, and then
he's like, I'm trying to touch all these boobies, man.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the thing, is that
boob.
He was living in such a shitty state of life that it's like, okay, I want just like these minimalistic things that will drastically increase my happiness. And then he did find a life he was content with Aki and power. And it's like, he didn't really talk about, I need this and I need to, it's like, he still had this weird, thing with Makima, of course, but like, he was super content with his life and actually loved his life living with Aki and power. And if they didn't have to go do, devil hunting, like, they would have just kicked it and had a great time, happily ever after. And so like, once those two are brutally ripped from him, it's like he reverts to his first mindset, his first desires, but an extreme version of it. It's like, I just think that it's a little bit of self-care, self-mending,
like
I guess.
Coping mechanism.
Yes. To say, well, fuck it. Like, I only wanted this. Eventually, I got something that I didn't know I was looking for, but apparently I was, and that was perfect, and it was totally ruined for me. So like, I need to go back to what I was doing before, but I need to like really go for it now, because I just have nothing really anymore. So like, I really got to have a goal, and really something to strive for, aside from finding the Blood Devil, because that's still on the table too, which I think shouldn't be overlooked, because I think he still does care about that, even though he's saying this chapter.
I actually am like relating a lot to Denji in this chapter, just like both with his shift of his mindset from like a minimalistic kind of idealism, like Kiko said, to like really thinking like, nah, fuck that, I want all of what this fucking world has to offer.
I deserve a little bit more. I deserve
a hero. Everything this life has to offer. Hold the fuck up.
I'm a hero. I gotta hear him also, now. I'm a little bit more.
Just like the shit that he's struggling with like just the human brain and how it works in fucked up ways. Like somebody can literally rip your fucking life apart and hurt you, and he's like, dude, I still care about this bitch.
Poor Denji.
Fucking A, dude.
I mean, that's wild. Also that very relatable and human, because it's shit. Like, you spend all this time loving somebody, building them up in your mind. Even when they do really fucking shitty stuff to you,
you still like glorify those good moments. You romanticize the past, and you
can't easily break it. You can't easily break those feelings. Like it's I mean, people live in abusive relationships for years, and it's like they know they're being mistreated, but yet they somehow, like Stockholm syndrome, like they still love that person, and it doesn't make any sense, but like
make excuses.
It does make sense to them, which is very human. Which I loved. I loved all that.
That's a great point.
I also think the hero part that you say, Hero Devil is back, right? Like I fully feel like because even his tie is floating like the scarf now, just like the scarf. His tie is floating like the scarf. He's got fucking devil arms now. His arms
he still has the devil arms.
I was just gonna say that you stole my fucking point, you bastard.
I love this double spread. I love this double spread on 12 and 13 with the crosses, the contrast of like the all white, like grassy or like maybe like dirt area. I don't know. I would assume it's grass, but you can't really tell.
Yeah,
it's like what it is it's like a military graveyard.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know the difference.
That's the only graveyards that are like conformed like that, all just the same crosses.
Right. Though I would say that, and it looks like a military graveyard. I'll definitely give you that. But in this universe, because of how many people have died from, say, the Gun Devil, it might be actually just a huge memorial grave site in the same vein, but like maybe not military oriented in this particular case. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
Since Kiko brought it up, I would like to talk about it. I did notice that Denji seems to be more in tune with his chainsaw powers this chapter.
Yes.
Because he's got the armored arms.
Yes.
Last time we saw him in chapter like 78 or 79, before the full Chainsaw Man transformation, was the last time he went into his Chainsaw Man.
I think that's
fighting Aki.
Yeah. Didn't have it.
He didn't have the armored arms yet.
Yes. So. Oh man, what is this gonna look like? Look at her squad. Like, look at who she's got with her. Okay, so like the art obviously stays slapping inside of Chainsaw Man. Yeah. But like there's all these like really dynamic and like abstract like like panel decisions that he makes inside of his illustration. Like this, we're talking about the crosses and whatnot in the in the graveyard, and then you turn the page and it's just like all black except for the whites of their shirts and like their hair and their skin and whatnot. Like that's very aesthetic, you know what I mean? And then going into this last double spread on the last page where you see Quan Chi, you see the flamethrower dude again, you see everybody that he fought, Retsei, but I think we see new people here this time too. Like this big ass one next to Retsei. What is that? What is that guy?
The Spear Devil.
That's the Spear Devil. Okay, so we have seen that dude. Okay.
Yep.
We've seen
his head is just wonky because like his defining characteristic is like a point, but it's like a hat, it's like a bill of a hat.
Yeah, that's right.
So the perspective is just wonky on that one. Right. If he would have put his head down like Katana Man, you would have been able to tell a little bit easier.
And
I had to look back on it too because I was like, I thought the exact same thing. I'm like,
who's this new guy?
But then I counted him. I'm like, no, there's still 7. So which one am I missing? And then I had to go back to the chapter, and I was like, okay, you get a better perspective in those chapters to see that.
I don't know. So, have we seen Xenomorph face chick like next to him before?
That's the whip. The whip.
That's the whip.
Whip. Okay. Got you. So no new friends.
Right. This double spread, like we've often talked about how the dialogue in Chainsaw Man is very Tarantino-esque, but this double spread to me is Tarantino-esque. You know what I mean? Here's the part of the Tarantino movie where we move into the super violence category, right? Like, the old Western,
the Western music. You know what I'm saying?
It goes across the screen, and all of a sudden, bam! It's violence time, baby.
Yeah. It definitely does feel like that here, and I love the illustration that we have on. Like the effects that were used for Denji's arm in the foreground. You know what I'm saying? It looks very shiny, but very like, it's just like, I feel like we don't really see this technique applied all that often to anything in Chainsaw Man, especially not Denji's armor. So.
And the chain along the top, right? That's the chain for the chainsaw. And like, I don't really know what the goal was other than it just looks fucking cool as hell. And I don't know.
I mean, sound effects too.
Yeah, that's sound effects too, right? But it's just creative. The katakana is just like jammed together in a way that
Okay. That's the way I took it. I'm glad there wasn't something deeper there than I don't know. But it was just really fucking cool. I'm like, that's because I instantly think of, because way back when during the Retsei fight where Denji first like disconnects the chains from the chainsaw and uses them to, ride fucking Beam. And Beam was talking or like reminiscing about how Chainsaw Man used to use his abilities back in the day before Denji had him. And he was Spider-Man. He was using, just basically using them to web sling from building to building, So it's like, once you see this, I'm like, oh man, they're about to get, he's got full mastery of like, the chains of the chainsaw at this point.
This is a fully realized like base Denji that we're looking at right now. You know what I mean? Which is super exciting and also makes me feel like the series is definitely ending very soon. But But it's cool. It's super.
I wouldn't
cool.
say very soon, but on its downward stages, probably.
Yeah, and I think they might have. I think Shueisha
I bet there's 20 chapters or
about
less.
it. Yeah. I think that Shueisha maybe said something about it too.
I think Shueisha did say something. Yeah.
Final like stages or whatever. But I mean, like, what does that look like?
Tatsuki Fujimoto said like it's entering its super climax stage of the story. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But what does that mean inside of a story like Chainsaw Man? You know what I'm saying? We can't really expect too much, but yeah, dude.
And then like on page 17. You know, you have these 3 crows sitting on these tombstones. And as we were talking just now about, like, is the story going on its, way out or whatever? And we have, all the, weapon hybrid devils that are about to fight, Denji here. But then Makima is one of the 4 horsemen. We've not seen any of the other 3 horsemen. Are these 3 crows, like, why are they flying away, right? Like, are they going to tell the other 3 horsemen, like, yo, it's going down right now? But then in the bottom left panel on page 17, it's like there's like 4 crows, and it could imply like motion, like the 3 crows are flying away into the distance. But like, I don't know, like what is this name? These 3 crows, you know what I mean? So and I just remember like there's 3 horsemen not accounted for that we've never seen, and I hope we will see them before the end of the story. So like, ooh.
Because there's 4 total, so I mean, like, it's showing 4. It could definitely still be representative of the horsemen.
Of the 4 of them,
and one of them is Makima, who's already there, and the other 3 aren't there. So it could be representing like an inevitable regrouping of that in that scene that we'll eventually see. I'm just like going back through this chapter, and I'm noticing like how many panels these crosses are in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get them in like these low opacity. You know what I'm saying? Like backgrounds where they're just like when I first went through this, like I didn't notice, crosses on any page besides the first double spread, and then like I'm going through the rest of them, and like now I'm looking at it again, and I'm like, holy shit, they're everywhere on this shit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
in a field full of
they're standing in a field full of them. Yeah. But it was just crazy that I didn't notice them past that page before. Like, god damn.
Yeah, I like page 14 to 15. Makima, when she first walks up on Denji, she says, "You look quite feeble now. Did you come here expressly to die for me?" And so he jumps off the cross, thump, and so, yeah, exactly. Denji has his dialogue, Miss Makima in this ultra awesome perfect world, whatever. And so that next panel after Denji responds, we always want to see some emotion out of Makima, and there it is, surprised. She's surprised that he turned. Like, how the fuck did you turn back into Denji? And you see the disdain on her face in the next one. Like, why have you turned back into Denji? Like,
I got a more ominous vibe, like really not surprised, but like actually upset. Like, why have you turned like?
Yeah,
but the first one is surprised.
The first one is definitely surprised. She looks shook. She's like, "What?"
I thought you were talking about the blacked out.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm talking about the whole 2 pages as a whole here. Taking us through a journey. Taking us through a journey here. Trying to get there. But yes, it's with her looking this. This is what would happen to a control devil when something is not in her control. Like she is flustered about this. She is pissed about this. She's trying her best not to show either of those emotions, in my opinion, because that's controlling her emotions. I feel like all is a part of the control devil, right? Like how we don't know ever what she's thinking or what she's planning is all very important. So when we always talk about seeing emotion on her, that's probably why we don't see it usually.
That's a really good point, dude.
And so like that is just a huge deal, I think, to get those 2 panels to go 2 emotions, boom, boom, real quick. Within Makima.
Yeah. Another thing I love about this 14-15 series of pages, right? So we've already talked about, the movie conversation, how, you need good and bad movies really to really enjoy movies. And Knox already brought up the top panel on page 14, this, sea of all these, hunter or devil users, devil contract users that Makima has control over. Now what I wanted to bring up here also is that all this black, Knox, you mentioned the contrast here and how it looks like super sick. To me, it expresses themes of conformity, right? Just everything is the same, you know what I mean? One big consistent, blob that's like you can't tell the difference between anyone because everyone's the same, everyone's under her control or whatever, right? So it's just more reinforcing these themes of uniformity and beating away.
That's just so sick how Fujimoto has like the plot moving on the surface with the character interactions, and like obviously the art leads the story in a certain direction,
definitely,
and whatnot. But in the background you have plenty of themes being hit, you know what I mean, in subtle ways, and like in vague ways, and like ways that aren't in the foreground, you know what I mean, that just like makes this whole story just feel so complete on like a from up here, you know what I'm saying? Looking down at it, you're like, wow, man, like this is really like a masterpiece, you know what I mean? Like this is gonna be an instant classic. Like,
so maybe the crow symbolism, because I've been thinking about that since you said it, and I think that was a peculiar panel, and I was thinking maybe it could just be symbolism maybe for like Aki, power, and the angel devil, kind of
Himeno
looking on.
Could be Himeno too.
Himeno, I was thinking earlier too as well. Himeno,
sure.
Kind of maybe just looking on, maybe just and then flying away. Just some
I like
symbolism.
that.
I only said angel devil because Himeno, or not Himeno, they have all three died as a result of this like culmination of events, which would this memorial could be for them in a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
They would fall under the group of people that this memorial was made for, because they died in like the Gun Devil / Makima versus Denji event.
Yeah, definitely.
I can definitely see that.
And they fly away like right before that last double spread. So it's like the send off of like the people that fell leading up to this moment, this final confrontation. Like, don't forget your people, G. Like, and you want to know what? There's 4 of them. So it's like Aki, Beam, Power, Angel Devil, you know what I mean? So it's like that's the squad, you know what I mean? So it's like, but then why was one of them off screen?
Not there? That's
panels?
Weird.
Yeah,
because
this is a mysterious set of panels for sure.
Seems strange, but
I would I would have to say it's Himeno over Angel Devil now that we're thinking about it, because those 3 had very strong bonds with Denji. Those are the 3 characters in the series that had strong bonds with Denji. With Denji in particular.
Yeah.
And they were all human,
True.
Where even though devils can die,
no,
they
Beam
don't
wasn't
really die.
human.
They just exactly. Himeno, Aki, and I guess Power's not human.
And there's 4.
Yes. Yeah. Well, but see, Beam and Angel are full. No, Beam was a fiend too. Beam was a fiend, and Angel was a full devil. So I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
Those 3 people that I had significant, bonds with Denji. So I felt like that fit a little bit better, even if Himeno did throw up in his mouth.
Someone colored that. Oh God, I always remember.
I know they
fucking
did.
colored
I know.
What the hell's wrong with you? So much
Should've
detail.
given you nightmares.
So much detail.
Funny
in the
ass
barf
moment.
too. Yeah.
But I guess one more thing. I don't know if if anybody else has anything else. They could say something before I do this.
I think I'm good. Yeah, go ahead, man.
So, page 9, we have Denji chilling here, and he's watching the TV. I still want to be Chainsaw Man. How can I kill Miss Makima so I can do that? The next page is, a montage, basically. I love the top of page 11 because that's literally a meme. Fujimoto,
gave us a whole memes that go crazy.
And then even after what she did to me, I still like Miss Makima, right? But then next page is confrontation. So there's a whole big chunk of story missing with fucking Kishibe and Kobeni.
Yeah, that's right.
So there is definitely, they have a plan. And Nick, maybe a little prime minister stuff going on over here.
Wait a minute. Sends Kobeni and Kishibe to double team the prime minister.
Go get the prime minister.
Hey, Kobeni clears
chainsaw.
Especially since we know who the true prime minister is. All hail Power 2020. Power Meowie.
Power Meowie 2020, man.
Hell yeah. But that's all I had. There's definitely some whole other shit happening with that. So
I really needed to be Nick's prime minister theory plot.
Yeah. I like that.
Like that's gotta be like, because we need to see Kishibe like super activate one more time before the end of the series. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We need to see Kobeni get back, in her bag as well.
Kishibe is a bag of bones, man.
He is a bag of bones, but he's got a coup d'etat though. He's got a last little hurrah in him. You know what I'm saying? He gonna let that hair down. You know what I'm saying?
I think he tried, and Makima told him, like, dog, you ain't got shit.
He got served by Quan Chi.
Yo, devils don't even want your shit no more.
He got kicked out the window, threw out the window, and then came down with the knife, hard body on the.
He did land on the car, and like he was.
He was clean. He was clean. I think for Kishibe's character, I think that it would be great to see him introduced as this like, number one devil hunter. We obviously see his capabilities inside of his training sequences with power and Denji, but we don't really see him actually activate as a devil hunter until the international, assassins arc. And he I don't want to say he underperforms there, but it wasn't a point to show his capabilities in that kind of situation. He had a very, significant underlying role, you know what I'm saying, that I feel like we're about to really see the culmination of coming into this confrontation that we're about to see, or whatever's happening in the background of it. You know what I'm saying? I think that his entire character arc is being slowly like pieced together, leading up into this final showing of his character. And I think that it would be pretty good balance to show him mentoring the next generation, or mentoring our new characters because of his position, or our main characters because of his position. Show him, with what we saw in that one arc, and then leading off on, okay, this is what Kishibe can actually do, and then he dies. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, and he is old friends with Quan Chi, so he tried to, hey, let's kill Makima. He's trying to, had a little plan there. Negotiations broke down a little bit, and then he got kicked out the window. Man, it happens, You ever been in negotiations and get kicked out the window,
I think I'm ready to jump out the window. All right, let's move on.
Yeah, I think
we should move on. Yeah, definitely.
Well, then with that, I believe we can go ahead and move right into chapter 39 of Mashle, Mosh Burn Dead and the Victory Celebration. And we start right off in this cool ass looking lair that they got, this floating castle with
art on this
with Buddy, which is a cool scene. But I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. We got some big confirmation this chapter on something that we on this podcast personally had been speculating upon. I don't know if it was me or somebody else, but
what do we say?
The fact that the lines, there is in fact a way to add or achieve more lines.
Artificially.
Not Lang, but Innocent Zero is giving motherfuckers lines, which is something that we had speculated on. And with that information, I do not think it's that far-fetched that they would also be able to give people attributes of magic that they did not possess originally, which is also something we were speculating on last week. So
love that.
Those are some big developments.
Developments.
Big credits to some of our speculations that make them a little more viable.
Especially with Cell War using what looks to be different types of magic. He does only have 2 lines, but his one line could just have been the fucking, obsidian or carbon, and the other line is, the spatial shit.
And they gave him a spatial line.
Love it. I love that.
They gave his ass a mummy line.
There's I feel like this chapter is huge. I feel like there's tons of stuff in this chapter. I mean, like, even the first few pages, there's tons. Like, for example, the first page, first dialogue bubble, father. Okay, father is involved here. They found what was lost, right? And remember that Mash himself is an orphan. He was left on the top of a building and found by his adopted father. So, like, his father, quote unquote, is not even his real father. And, this mysterious masked figure says, or, shadowy figure says, I will have my wish. What the fuck is this guy's wish or whatever, right? There's just, like, so much. Like, is Mash related to this dude?
This is Mash's dad, bro.
And for example, also, like, we were commenting earlier, I think I mentioned this like a week or two ago, that like Cell War's line pattern is the same line pattern as Mash, even though Mash's is fake. But wouldn't it be like a funny joke that like Cell War is his brother and has the same lines as he would have if he were a magic user, but he's not a magic user? You know what I mean? So it's like, wouldn't that be crazy?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
They have a similar hairstyle.
Yeah, they do. They
do. Wait a minute.
Couple of things. So Mash was found on top of a building, which Was MASH thrown fucking off the top of this fucking giant castle and landed on the top of a building, and he's just that swole as a baby?
And he's always been swole as a baby.
Like Goku, just like Goku. And, you know, like with these gag mangas, they try to, you know, pull different things from other things. So it'd be very similar to Goku's story. With this castle in the sky, Selwar being very priest-like, even Jesus-like, and with the you know the thorn crown. Is father revered as a god? Is he supposed to be God living in heaven, basically a floating fucking castle above the rest of the world?
So, allegories.
Or is it father? Is it father in the father-son sense, or is it father in the religious sense, like a priest, right? Like father, right? Like I love that. It's
so that'd be like that's the Pope. Father's the Pope when Selwar's just a regular priest or whatever. Either one of those would be pretty crazy.
I love that,
man. There's some hilarious shit, man. Don't spitting on the fucking Mob Psycho guy. That's what I call the dude with the hair. I felt like he was like the dude from Mob Psycho, the bald guy with the fake hair on it. I forgot I forgot his name. Whatever it is. But yeah, like we talk about, hey, this is fucking it's very close. Yeah, it's somewhere. But we talk about how this is, you know, Harry Potter and One Punch Man, you know, mixed together. And so obviously One Punch Man also done by one, the same as Mob Psycho. So I was like, you know, maybe taking a little inspiration with Hair Guy here, you know, like, and then Dope comes rolling up and he's fucking bandaged the fuck up and spits on dude right in his face. It's like, that's hilarious, but also a little off-putting, not just for the fact that he's spitting on you, which is absolutely terrible, but with Corona right now, you see so many videos of these fucking dumbass Americans on the city bus with no mask on. They get in a fight with somebody and literally spit on them. It's like the most fucking, just reprehensible thing. Like, and it's like, I laughed at it, and then I'm like, oh man, if this wasn't Corona time, this would be even funnier, because I laughed at first, and then I got mad.
Now I'm like, oh.
But I want to also say that being fully bandaged is a huge deal, because he was totally up and around and analyzing Mash's fighting style while he had all these fucking injuries, which is huge for his character, because I was even saying it made so much sense on those chapters to have Dote being the one to analyze Mash when Mash is moving so fast and doing all these things, because he is the most physically gifted of any other mage we've ever seen, right? Like, I mean, presumably he's running, trying to grab, he's trying to physically take your fucking wand from you, you know?
Right.
Mages don't usually do that type of shit, and so like, I just think this is all this is all good for Dote's character, you know, like he's, you know,
he's the cool bar, man.
Yeah, he's the cool bar. Exactly. That's perfect. Definitely. So,
I love this chapter because like going into that arc, it was like the first like major arc of Mashle, and it had a lot of really good action. It followed that like first big shonen arc mold or formula like really well. I'm not, you know, it's not the best shonen arc that we've ever seen, but I think that it was an amazing first big arc for MASH, especially because it kept the comedic elements throughout, but it wasn't overbearing. It followed that shonen storytelling path of like, you know, we're a group, we go into the opposition, we have individual fights, blah 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 blah. But even though that was very cut and dry, you know what I'm saying, very cookie cutter on paper, we ended up learning a lot more about the lore of MASH like throughout that arc, which is kind of like bare minimum requirement, I feel like, for a story arc like that. But also at the same time, a lot of plot threads hung down at the very end of it, gives us a lot to speculate on, gives us a lot to look forward to for the future. So all in all, I feel like that was a very, for a series like this, I want to say that's like a hard 8.5, like 9 out of 10 arc for this for Mashle. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it did everything that it needed to do and then some.
For sure.
And I think it's cool how, because it's so comedic, that people aren't expecting too much from it. So when it does surprise you, it hits a little bit harder, you know, than it does, you know, take like a more professional, like serious like route when it needs to, or a traditional shonen storytelling route when it needs to, but doesn't overload it with that comedy. Komoto, right, I think is the name of the author or the mangaka for this. They have a really good artistic sense and like comedic timing sense, and they know like when the right time to inject comedy is, and when you know, you might not need it, it's not there, you know what I mean? So.
Or like, you know, when they're saying news of MASH not having magic spreads quickly, you know, and they're like, but no, we solved it, it's fine, and they solved it by just saying like, no, he can no, fuck you, he can.
Yeah.
Just go home. He can use magic. It's fine.
Comedy in this chapter was there is so much comedy in this chapter while being such a big world building chapter at the same time.
Yeah.
But like the comedy was like, it felt like, okay, we dialed the comedy back throughout this arc because we wanted you guys to like get like a semi-serious like Shonen arc here.
Yeah.
But as soon as it's over, it's like, here's all the gag again, and it's so good. I miss like a whole gag chapter.
Yeah. I almost like Kiko, you mentioned this dude with like the weird pompadour, like this weird ass hair or whatever. I almost like, does he have hair magic? Because like his line is like a right angle, and his hair is also kind of like a right angle, like pompadour, like kind of nasty ass thing. So like I don't know, like it just in terms of joke shit, I could imagine it being related.
Yeah, his hair is changing in every panel. In every single panel, it's different.
Yeah.
You got just a little bit of a
He's a woolly willy. He's a woolly willy.
Yeah, and then it's going this. Yeah. Where the magnet shit.
The magnetic hair, make the afro a beard type like toy, like early '80s toy.
That's hilarious. Another thing I thought was really cool is we get to see I don't know, you call it a scale, whatever it is, the magic item that just
tallies the stars, right?
Well, the coins.
Yeah, the coins. Yeah,
but it's doing it, like telepathically. I don't know what you call it. Remotely. Sure. It's just, it knows who has the coins and is just making adjustments. You see, you don't really get to see the movements of the hands, but you get to see that Adler's, way up here, where Lang's all the way in the back now, starting from 0. So, that is Lang starting from 0. Yep, because the Orca is the other one, the one that's about
the nerdy
science.
One. It's
the science one. Yeah.
What page is the scale? What page is the scale on again?
Yeah, it's 3. The Ravenclaw. Yeah. 3.
Yep. Yes, there it is.
And so there's coins in the scale itself.
Sure, yeah. There is. Yeah, you're right. There is.
I guess those could physically be that MASH came and dropped it. No, but that's not how it works.
It's like a scale clock. It's like a scale clock and like meter. It's like it's measuring like 3 different things, I feel like, at once.
Well, it's not a clock.
Well, no. I know it's not a clock, but I mean, like, it has like the numbers going around that big circle around it with the arms coming out of the middle. So I was just saying, it like feels like a clock, a scale, and a ruler at the same time.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to like just think of some like, I've been trying to tie in like religious symbolism ever since Kiko said what he said about the father thing.
Yeah.
And what was lost? Like, what? Just that singular word that points to like an object. That seems really peculiar to me, and obviously we really we have,
as opposed to who. Yeah.
You're right. And obviously we have like the Holy Grail, like drinking from it gives you eternal life, supposedly, or immortality, or whatever. Just like different objects in Judeo-Christian, which I feel like we've gotten a fair bit of references in this series for, like Judeo-Christian
mythology,
religion.
Religion.
I don't know. I'm just trying to think, and I've thought of this before. Like, I think I've mentioned it in the podcast. Even I'm just trying to find a way to connect. Like, Mosh is some fucking high tier, like mythological magic item that is given human form that this dude is trying to get.
Okay. I was like, where's he going? Where's he going? Hey, that's sick as fuck, dude.
Yeah, okay.
So Mash is a magic tool.
He's like the Holy Grail given human form or some shit that is like getting him and doing something will give you some kind of wish, maybe eternal life, high tier magic ability, unlimited mana. Who fucking knows? But like, there's something here. Theory. I feel like there's something here.
Yeah.
This set of panels is peculiar.
Yeah.
Innocent Zero deals in all shady practices, right? They said they're smuggling fucking people, drugs, magic fucking tools, the works. They're doing all the shady shit. So, I mean, it wouldn't be like far-fetched for me for these people to refer to lesser humans as a thing opposed to a person. Yeah. So I mean, it could very well be that, especially because we got a new term that I think is a new term, blight blood. I don't think I've heard that.
I think it's a new term. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I don't know, like this is possible that
Mudblood.
the MASH did have magical.
Yeah, I kind of took it just like Muggle, you know.
Muggle, yeah.
So, yeah, you know.
Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, it feels to me like, you know, that MASH could very well have been something along the lines of what you're saying, but still an actual human, but just like, I don't know, something they need to, you know, pull his Jinchuriki out, whatever the fuck, you know, whatever's going on inside him, like they got to extract that from
a vessel, the key, you know, some sort of, you know, used for something else besides himself, right? Yeah.
Take the bijou out of the Jinchuriki. There we go. My Naruto isn't, you know.
No, that was good.
Fresh.
That was it though. Yeah,
that's it. That is it.
Found it.
I found
Lance is back.
Lance.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
God, so much happened in this chapter.
Why do they got to call him Sister Complex? It's like that's his name now. Like,
hey man.
I mean,
if Gauch didn't exist, if Gauch
Yeah.
didn't exist, then I don't know. Maybe we wouldn't even have Lance, but I doubt that. You know what I mean? Like even if his character was still the way that it was, like maybe we might not get a Sister Complex joke.
I just would love to not tie Lance and Gauch together.
Yeah, that's definitely weird. But I mean, at least Lance has like established himself as like there's a very clear delineation.
Oh yeah,
definitely. So you got these three, Lang school kids chilling at the table. You know, Love is the one that's kind of like overlooked. Of course, we have Abel and Abyss, but Love is there too. And it's like we're kind of boys, right? Like, I mean, not really, because Abyss and Abel are still being weird. Like, hey, you want to play cards? Oh, he did come to party, and then Abyss is like, beat my man's in cards, I dare you. Like,
I like that. I feel like
I do too.
It's good for their personality. You know what I mean? Like they're not immediately just like vanilla friends or whatever. Like they still have their quirks of being, you know, very much, you know, their own squad and you know, having their own motivations, but you know, they're friends. I mean, I don't think he's serious when he says like, if you beat Abel and Carsman to kill you, right? I think it's just a funny hyperbole or whatever.
It's like Bakugo saying,
like
I'm going to kill you. Like, he's not really going to do it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
One thing Lance said that I thought was kind of interesting is that they were like, Lance, like, where have you been, dude? And what did he say? Like, I saw some death row inmates. I ran into some death row inmates. I feel like that's going to be bigger than that statement. By itself, you know, would imply or whatever.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, because it's just so weird how his disappearance in the arc, you know, and where did you see death row inmates? Like, did he see him at all? Is he lying? Was something else happened? And then he's like, oh, I'll tell you about what happened after that fight later or whatever. Like, So he doesn't want to say in front of, you know, people around, doesn't want to say in front of Hair Guy, doesn't want to say it. And I don't think Abel and them were there at that point. I think it's just Hair Buddy, right? At that point.
Hair Bro. Wooly Willy head ass.
Yeah.
No, when he said that, it was later at the dinner at the table. So Abel and them were there.
Okay, then that is it.
Yeah, everyone was there.
Yeah.
It's just so easy for mangaka to like have funny scenes with characters with afros. Because of the medium, you know what I'm saying? Because of like the black on white, like, you know what I'm saying? Like you can like shape it in any kind of way, and then like that coupled with like, you know, the funny like anime style faces, just comedy every time. Can't miss. Easy
comedy gold.
Easy layup,
Easy layup. Easy revenge. That's all I had, I think, for
me too.
For Mashle.
Yeah, I think I'm good too.
I think that's about all I had as well. So alrighty then, with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into chapter 291 of My Hero Academia. Thanks for going strong. And I think this chapter, man, like
it's one of the best
for me personally, because
ever. This is
I have always been
chapter.
Somebody who has outwardly spoken about, like, I do not openly shit on Endeavor like he's just a piece of trash. Like I've always said, like, I think the story and him are taking good steps into like redeeming him. Obviously, he's done shitty things, but I've always said like he's making the right steps. Yeah. The story is making the right steps. I don't just throw him in the trash like a lot of people do.
Yeah,
Kiko. But
I was just saying, to be fair, I was just saying if we're gonna say all that, I said to be fair, with the information we had, it was very really well projected. To Endeavor being a rapist.
Yeah,
but
I think this chapter with the information we got, you know, it points to even the initial dynamic of the family and the marriage being a lot less like disingenuous than we thought. Like, I think maybe now it could have been like something that was proposed. You know, they saw like, okay, let's see if we're fucking with each other. Like, obviously our two quirks would meld really well together, and they actually maybe fell in love and got married. And at first it was like a happy kind of thing, right? Like they were both chilling, happy they were having kids. Endeavor didn't seem like he was fucking berating the shit out of Toya when they were training and when he was a kid. Like, he's like, oh, what's up with your hair, man? It's turning white. Like, what's good? Like regular kind of father son training dynamic. Like, he wasn't like, you need to burn this fire, bitch. Like, he wasn't like. And then maybe I think something over time happened that made him like, and it very well could have been the shit that happened with the forest fire with Toya burning alive or whatever. You know, you find all you have left of your fucking son is his crisped up fucking piece of his jawbone. Like, that could make you snap mentally and like start doing crazy shit to your family that's like really out of character for you. And obviously that's not justification. It doesn't forgive what was done. But it's valid reasoning. Like if a person breaks mentally, they can do wild, crazy shit. And I don't know, just this chapter really made me feel good about, you know, gave Endeavor nice pathos and just backstory on what was going down. And the information that the dynamic of their family was good is really good. I think, you know.
I think that the Endeavor situation is so crazy that like a mangaka even wanted to put a family dynamic like this inside of his Shonen magazine. You know what I'm saying? So obviously it's going to be hard to like really talk about like what really could have gone down inside of that household. And as far as like what we can assume, you know what I mean, based on the lore that we have so far, I feel like yes, Kohei is handling Endeavor's redemption as well as he possibly could, but I also don't think that the only possible end game for Endeavor's character is all out entire complete redemption. You know what I mean? Like I think that it's doing a good job of showing that that is where it wants to go, but I don't think it absolutely needs to happen in the way that a lot of people would expect, you know what I mean? And if this is the way that it happens, you know, I think that it's better to have this cater to, you know, the villainous outlook of things, because it's a fucking huge thing to do, and it's definitely very wild inside of Shonen to not have a fairy tale ending inside of a situation like this if you are going to take it there. So I think,
and the story is almost pointing in that opposite direction, right? Where like maybe he could get personal like redemption with his family within itself, you know, like maybe he could come to terms with what he did. Maybe the kids can forgive him eventually, whatever, maybe not. But as far as like
society
on a grand scale thing, like he might fucking have to leave Japan type shit, because how can this society ever look at him the same? Because most people are going to have the outlook of like, you should never fucking treat your family how you've done this. You know,
it's going to cause a lot of conflict.
There might not be any coming back from that. He might have to leave Japan, go somewhere else. He can't even be a hero in Japan no more because of how society looks at him. Maybe he can get personal, you know, reconciliation, redemption with his family on that level. Maybe he does never get redemption on a societal level, which could be cool. But I don't know. I think just to touch on the whole thing I was talking about before, just because there's one thing I forgot. I think Ray also, her interactions with the kids and stuff point to it being a lot more wholesome, like mutual, like mutual consent, like actual love dynamic between the two of them. Because even when they come and say like, oh yeah, Endeavor's a piece of shit, when he dropped the flowers off, even she said like, you know, he wasn't a bad dude. Like, he's been dropping me off these same flowers that he knows and remembers that I love for the past fucking however long. Like, he drops some joints off every week. So I mean, it does point to him being a more caring person, and like something happened, obviously probably this Toya shit, that just made him snap and turned him into a different person.
It's possible that, like, you know, before in the story, I think, you know, we see Shoto's mom, you know, Ray or whatever, you know, acting as she does, and you kind of make some assumptions about the relationship, about the family in general, because she when she threw the boiling water on Shoto, right, and like scarred him, you kind of think that like she sees Shoto, it's a tongue twister, and and has an opinion, a vehement reaction towards the family, the reaction Endeavor, you know what I mean? Where she could actually be more seeing Shoto. She's reminded of his, dual quirk and what Endeavor went through training Toya, and she might be mostly remembering Toya. You know what I mean? Like, she sees Shoto as like a reminder of Toya's death. Not so much the reminder of Endeavor's shittiness. You know what I mean? And we could have been misinterpreting it the whole time. I think it's still, as Kiko said, I think it's been justified to think of Endeavor as being a shitbag so far. And I think you could probably still even go there. But I do think we have good justification that, like, as you say, the relationship was perhaps mutual, consensual, and that there was just like, a slight difference in opinion, not necessarily about having kids, but about how much should we drive our kids to be heroes, and Endeavor was super over the top with the first child, Toya.
And I think on a societal level, it's far more than just Endeavor's deeds, because now we're looking at not only the number one hero, but the number two hero. We get to see Hawk's fucking,
We got
right
that panel. We got that panel. We never got that panel.
We didn't. We did not. We did not. And I remember when that chapter came out, we did talk about that scene, which, I mean, it was due as much as the time we talked about it, but that was one of the things, because one of the clones are the ones that fall off the side of the fucking thing, and then it's trying to, like, and it just kind of puddles down or whatever. And we were kind of speculating, was that actually him? But like, no, it couldn't have been. But yeah, we definitely talked a lot about that at the time. But yeah, on a societal level, this is so much bigger than Endeavor at this point. This is all heroes. And this is just Endeavor's just a linchpin for all heroes are fucked up. Look at Hawks. Hawks did the shit too. Hawks' dad was a villain. That's why his name is redacted. That's why he could easily murder a villain who, with skeptics, good editing, which we should talk about that in a little bit too, because that doesn't make any sense to me. Or I won't say any sense, but it's a little tough to wrap my head around that. But with the broadcast that's being shown, I mean, it's supposed to make Twice look like he was doing something benevolent, and Hawk's killing him anyway. And so it's just obviously a huge just pivot from what everybody thought heroes stood for to what they will stand for now. And I do have to say this because this is all part of the same thought, is that with Best Jeanist coming in at the end, it's a lot of what Dabi is saying is, you lose credibility because you said even Hawks killed the number 3 hero or 4 hero, whatever it was at the time. He killed him and presented, Best Jeanist to us as like a bargaining chip. So like he did that with no like feeling whatsoever. He did that straight-faced as hell, killed one of his, and then you get to see that Best Jeanist is still here. So even though there is a lot of this talk about what, because I feel like it's one of the kids talking to the other kid. It's kind of an awkward couple of dialogue boxes. Let me go see exactly which one. So I'm But it's like the kid sitting at the computer is like, can't you see, kid, this is bad news. By speaking out, he's already won. Whether he's lying or not, that's a question for later. He might be a villain, but people are going to lose faith over this. I hate to say it, but me too. I'm sorry, especially with all the damage and destruction. Anyone witnessing all this would have to be stupid not to lose faith, right? And right. It is a little awkward. I feel like that is the kids talking, like one kid talking to another. I don't know. Like I'm still confused at who's saying that.
Because the bubble points to the shark kid.
To the shark kid, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it's still weird that's what the author, Horikoshi, decided to convey this feeling is through these two random kids. And like the speech bubbles are, I guess maybe it's to represent just like
emotion,
the anxiety in what's being said. But yeah, I don't know. I felt that was a little weird. But yeah,
as far as my
right, like those are the when he was out there, those were the two kids that were like fucking with him, right? So like it shows like even the ones that are fucking with somebody like Endeavor are shaken by this, and so everybody else who doesn't fuck with Endeavor, like in that scene that we got where this kid was loving and on Endeavor, there was a lot more people hating on him.
Yeah. But that was. Are you talking about from last chapter, or are you talking about like way in the past? Because I don't remember. Like, was this during the time where he's fought?
Like when he first got named the number one hero.
This is Hosu City.
First got named the number one hero. Yeah, and he was like just watching.
That's why it felt awkward to me. I didn't remember those kids being there.
This is like probably the biggest takeaway that I have from this chapter is that Kohei has done such a good job throughout this story of showing the societal impact of things that happen. That when you see like civilians reacting to things, it's like a really big deal. Like even if it's like a really subtle like panel or two, you know what I mean? Like just seeing society behave in any kind of way just reinforces Kohei's ability to write stakes outside of just death in his story. You know what I mean? You have every single event, every single major event that happens is broadcasted publicly, and you see the opinions of the people, and you see that it's usually split in half between support and you know, slander, or you know what I mean, whatever. You know what I mean? But just the fact that you have people reacting to this, it's like this scene does so much because one, like I was saying last week, you have a very ambitious author that decides to give Shigaraki the monologue and the moment that he has inside of this arc that's all about the culmination of his progression as a villain juxtaposed to Deku's progression as a hero. You have that incredible dynamic in this arc, and that's been driven home throughout the entirety of it. And then you have this situation inside of Dabi taking that spotlight from Shigaraki to a certain degree, which is like, holy shit, mangaka, what are you doing? Like, why are you taking, you know what I mean? But this is the culmination of a series long plot as well, you know what I mean? Sure. So like it's crazy that you decide to deliver both of those things in the same arc. That's fucking epic. But like as far as like the societal response from what Dabi is saying right now, it's kind of like the impact that it has is like, you know, like when you're a kid, you think your parents are like gods until you see that they have flaws, you know what I mean? Until you grow up and you see that they make mistakes, you know what I mean? They're not these all-knowing, all-powerful people. I feel like that's what this scene is kind of doing for, you know, society and their outlook for Endeavor. You have the number one hero who, and they have, you know, they see these heroes as, you know, above them, you know what I mean? Like you, like celebrities, you know what I'm saying? Like we know celebrities are real people, but we see them on TV and it's like, holy shit, it's that one guy that shouldn't matter as much as he does, but like, oh my God, look at him. You know what I mean? It's like, you glorify, you know, these people so much and you think that they can do no wrong. So when you have Dabi spilling his guts about like what Endeavor is really like to these people, and you get a couple panels in the beginning of like someone like, we're not that freaking stupid, like no one's gonna fucking believe this, but like in the back of your head you're like, no, you're gonna believe this, bro. Like you're fighting to not do it because you want to believe that Endeavor is perfect, but like we're seeing that societal damage in the outlook, and that's why they say it in the dialogue. It doesn't matter if he's lying or telling the truth, the damage is done, and we'll look into the truth later. Endeavor sucks in 4K right now in front of everybody. You know what I mean? So it's like that's a really, you know, like that's a really big deal. And I agree with you. Yeah, it goes back to like Kohei establishing this amazing dynamic in his story that society dictates how serious things are. You know what I mean? So it's
I agree heavily with that. But the only thing I have to say is, so those are the same kids. The one am I gonna, you know, who would fall for this? You got to be stupid to fall for this, basically.
Yep, and then, the same two kids.
Yeah, the same. And then the same kid, you know, says, you know, changes his stance, which to me, it's all like, because it was
the shark kid talking at the end. It was the blonde kid.
Yeah, but you can see the kid crying, he's right? Wavering. Like he's covering his face, and now he's like his heart's breaking on the panel, which is for me, I would say, to see society reacting to something like this, it made a lot of sense when you had it en masse, where when you have two random kids sitting at a computer, it's like, who gives a fuck what they have to say? But now that Eagle reminded me that these kids were in Hosu City, that's why it hits. It's supposed to represent society as a whole, but like without knowing that, without remembering that scene, like it's like, why? I get what you know the author was trying to do, but I feel like it would be a slight miss if there wasn't some, you know, preamble to this, right? Like you got to have some build up, you know, or some other connection.
Just with these kids specifically, because I think that these kids are just like, I mean, like, yeah, we've seen these kids multiple times before, so obviously they're keeping a theme inside of their reaction of what's going on the television. But I think that these kids, even if there wasn't a build up with these two specific side characters reacting to the event, I think it still does what it's supposed to do in representing how society feels about these heroes. It really drives home how gray morality inside of My Hero Academia
the only
really
significance
is. Well,
of
hold on. So like,
so
you have
rebuttal here.
Right. So you have these two kids that represent the believe in the hero no matter what. And I mean, this has been our hero forever, but like, this is really fucked up information. You know what I mean? It's supposed to represent society's outlook, because they're sitting here going, heroes are white, villains are black. You know what I mean? Like they have this, and like this situation right here where you have this arguing or this uncertainty inside of these two fans of these heroes going like, yo, this is okay, it's fine, it's Endeavor. No, it's not. And did you not just hear what this dude said? It represents that theme.
I 1000, like, again, I agree.
Yeah.
But you have to still see, when you have random kids that don't pay taxes, and like, it's like, when you look at, so like within the narrative it makes sense, right? Like, but when you have parents, when you have adults that would be making these, you know, if these kids see this on the internet and they run to their parents, and their parents are like, oh, don't worry about it, that was bullshit, the heroes are gonna save us, everything's okay, and you can easily qualm your kids and they're gonna believe. So, but like having adults that have much more life experience and much more to like, they know far more how this society actually works than two kids sitting on the internet. When you have two random kids doing this, like, I get that, like, within the narrative, like, it does work, and it is, the author is, you know, getting the point across. I would just say, without the kids, because this is the same exact kid that was, you know, when people were starting to turn on Endeavor, when he was losing to the Hooded Nomu,
that's right,
he's the one that stood up and was like, no, we gotta trust him. And so it's like, without that, it's like, you could easily make an argument on both sides. And I'm not saying like I don't agree with you, because the author is getting that point across, but it's just, it's not it's definitely very much so highly debatable at that point without having previous lead up to it.
What's
you know, because just
debatable?
two kids these two kids' standpoint represents society as a whole, right? Like, it's really hard to like take two kids sitting on the internet without having something else to go with it. And there was
kids
last
are the
chapter,
biggest fans of these heroes.
Well, no, because exactly, they're
kids,
the only reference we have to like the positive side, people that are actually fucking with Endeavor. Even when he got named the number one hero, most of the people were like, yeah, we're not really fucking with Endeavor still.
Yeah.
They're the only people that are. The only significance of them in this chapter is being the people that are fucking with Endeavor.
Yeah.
Being those people that are quote unquote hardest to shake in their faith of Endeavor. So
and
just giving them this news, them being shaken by it as people who are like completely faithful Endeavor. Just shows you like, if we're shaking these people, everybody else is already on the other side of the fence, because they were already like, yeah, we're not really fucking with Endeavor in the first place. So it's much easier to shake them. Basically, all of society is shaken by this.
I don't want to go around and around in a circle, because you said exactly the same thing that Noxie just said. So like, we don't need to do that. We can really move on.
Well,
I'm just saying, like, for me,
thing that you were just saying too. So it doesn't matter.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, like, we can move on from this, because like, when you just look at something on a societal level, like, it's just, you need more than two random kids, in my opinion, personally, my opinion. And that's all we have to say, and we can move on, because like, we don't need to go around in a circle on this. I just say, with the Hosu City incident, it works perfectly, but without that, that's why it was awkward to me to begin with, and I'm glad that you reminded me of that.
Because you didn't remember, so it was awkward
because I didn't remember. It's just a shark kid and another kid on the internet watching a video saying, "Oh my God, the world's crumbling," when it's like, you have no frame of fucking reference. You're a fucking kid. Shut the hell up. Like,
and that makes sense, right? Like, you want to say like adults, should would be, would have a little bit more stake in the game reacting to this the way that these kids are, because they understand a little bit more about the world. But you have to remember that like the biggest fans of these heroes are the children population of the planet. You know what I'm saying? So they're going to be the most vocal. I mean, obviously we could show adults talking about like what this means for the future of the economy and like things that adults would say, but like showing children reacting in this way, it's like that comes back to a theme of this series, like idols. You know what I'm saying? Like people you look up to. Like this is how the story started with Midoriya watching All Might on screen. Now we have these kids who represent the fandom that Midoriya maybe had for All Might being represented in this shark kid and this blonde kid for Endeavor. And now Endeavor is on the ropes here. Like this is a homage, I feel like, or a callback to like what inspires people to be heroes in the first place. You know what I mean? So when you see that represented in the form of anxiety and uncertainty of these kids who are supposed to have steadfast resolve in their outlook on these heroes, it really drives home that white versus black morality situation and theme inside of My Hero Academia, that this is a very gray situation, and you're seeing it represented on the faces of these naive, ignorant children even. You know what I mean? So,
I think, and we really should move on.
My bad.
I don't think we got to keep talking about this. I'll still fully disagree with all of that.
Yeah,
that's
cool.
fine,
That's
because
cool.
it's just it's too. I think just one little quick point is we're so far past like looking up to idols at this point. Like this is a whole world changing arc, and like to have it come from kids, doesn't work for me without something to lead up to it.
Which we had, so it's all good.
Exactly.
But let us know actually down in the comments how you guys feel about this situation. This is actually a very curious situation that I was not expecting there to be contention for, because that's very interesting to me. So let us know.
One of my favorite parts about this chapter that really has nothing to do with any story developments was just the unique use of like paneling throughout the chapter, like at least on every page or every other
12
page.
and 13.
Yes. On I mean, even on just the first page with like Toya in the foreground with like the panels in the background. The fourth page with like the flashback panels put over the real time panel of Endeavor instead of like fading from a flashback back into real time. He like integrated it in really nicely.
Yes.
Even on, like you said, on page 9 with the static editing panel. Page fucking 11, and then going into these last few really from 11 on, the paneling on the rest of the pages is really good.
God tier.
Super.
I loved it.
And Kohei did a really good job of playing with the different filters, you know what I'm saying, going from the Dobby scene with like the 90s home video camera to the scene, like, you know what I'm saying, inside of the city and back and forth and whatnot. Aesthetically, this chapter, as we can expect from Kohei, was just phenomenal. Go ahead, Nick. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, one of my favorite parts with this chapter is the flashback, like page 1, page 2, like seeing young Toya. I'm like, give me an anime with young Toya as the MC. You know what I'm saying? This kid looks so cool. He looks so like stoked. Like, today's the day you're gonna teach me the ultimate move, baby. And like, and it just really hits on page 4, where like he like page 2, he's saying like, bam, like whoosh, like getting this flame up, and like Endeavor, internal monologue comments like the fire he possessed was greater than my own. And then he's like, you're gonna teach me a move. And then page 3 at the bottom, he's like really lighting up his hand or whatever. And then page 4, like ow, with a question mark, because he's never hurt himself with his fire yet. And like as Endeavor mentioned to Deku, right? Like he was like, oh, you're one of us. You're one of us. You're one of us who our quirks are too strong for our own bodies. You're an entirely different tier of quirk. And like to see this scene, as brief as we get it, in terms of Toya realizing, like, oh damn, like look at his face. Look at his face on page 2.
Yeah, he's like
bottom
shit.
Right panel. He is bottom right page 2. He is so stoked. He is so happy.
And Endeavor is stoked for him. Look at Endeavor. He's like, hey,
he's
shit, this is stronger than my shit. Yeah.
Like, imagine this. Like, this is perfect for Endeavor. Yeah. Like, his son is so unbelievably stoked to learn how to be a hero, to learn how to be better than his father. His father's like, yes, fucking did it.
But he doesn't have that ice.
And then that page 4 where, like, all of a sudden that happy, you're going to teach me an ultimate technique goes to a sadness of, oh my God, I just burned myself with my own ability. You know what I mean? Like,
and now that's going to turn into confusion. Endeavor. Ow, you just burned me with your ability. And, like, it's going to be Toya, like a complete, like, polar opposite reverse of that situation in every way. Like,
and like, page 15, when Dabi Toya is about to use prominence burn. Holy shit!
I wanted it just so bad.
Pops.
Yeah.
So much. Oh man. Yeah.
And as much as we have ragged on Kohei in the past for like his illustration on like big elemental attacks like fire and ice, like in this page right here of the Flash Fire Fist coming down into the prominence burn, like this is some of the best fire I've ever seen drawn. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's just like, holy
it looks incredible.
Shit.
He's really grown as an artist for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And Best Jeanist back on the scene, man.
Best Jeanist is back. That is so lit.
So I wanted to comment on that too. So like, I find this really interesting that like Dabi, Toya, whatever we want to call him, we call him Toya now. Is that what we're calling him, or
Toya?
It doesn't really matter. I'm just, it's more a rhetorical question of I'm curious what the community I guess is going to start calling him or whatever. But it's interesting that he's totally spitting in this video that's being shown to the YouTube and to the TV networks generally. He's totally spitting here, and it kind of sucks for me that he was tricked about the Best Jeanist thing. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I feel like he's like just slam dunk like my father's a shitbag. True statement, right?
Yeah.
He is using like breeding of quirks to try and make a new superhero, and basically doesn't even love his children. Fact, right? Yeah. And it just kind of sucks.
Now his credibility is starting to decrease because Best
Hawks
Jeanist
is a shitbag too.
Up.
Hawks is a shitbag. Yeah. Killed a villain in cold blood. Fact, fact. And he thinks he killed Best Jeanist. And it's like damn, like. Yeah. Kind of sucks that it almost sucks that he was tricked. You know what I mean?
It's because white morality has to prevail at the end of the day. So you need to throw that kind of situation in to like take credibility away from the villain that's making a little bit too much sense. They can make all the sense in the world. If you are challenging the outlook of the reader and the characters involved simultaneously, you are killing it on the writing side of things. You know what I'm saying? But like the villains this doesn't need to be Berserk. You know what I'm saying? Like make it as fucking dark as you want, but eventually bring it back and have these heroes win. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's cool how ambitious Kohei wants to go on the how dark can we make this? How agreeable can we make these villains? How much can we make the readers and society hate these heroes? And then seeing how he's going to bring that back into a positive situation in the public eye is going to be a sight to fucking behold, because right now everyone should be thinking that these heroes are trash. Even with Best Jeanist coming back right now and taking some of that credibility away from Dabi, he, like you were saying, was still spitting about everything else. So this is going to hurt his credibility in regard to like people believing anything else that he's said. Because they're like, okay, well, if Best Jeanist is here, then like, how do we know you were telling the truth about what Endeavor did?
Exactly.
But we have footage of him telling the truth about Hawks versus twice at least. So it creates this crazy psycho, uncertainty, you know what I mean? Like, holy
it's
shit.
Just the shadow of a doubt. Right?
Yeah.
He was telling the truth about this. We got fact. We got video of Hawk stabbing this dude, but then also Best Jeanist is still chilling. So he was either lying or misinformed about this, but we got the receipts on this. So I think could definitely be right. Like it just creates that shadow of a doubt where you can't disregard what he's talking about. You have to consider it as a possibility.
And I think that this uncertainty that's been building inside of society ever since All Might stepped down, when Endeavor takes the #1 mantle, almost gets beat by the Hooded Nomu. There is that break in the societal morale of humans and like what it means to be a symbol of peace now that All Might is gone. You have all of this like half opposed, half in agreement, in society kind of situation. I think that what Kohei is leading into right now, especially with the situation of how hard Dabi is spitting, but with the Best Genius situation taking some of that credibility away, I think this is going to create a very significant split in society. I think we're leading into a Civil War arc after this. I think we're leading into a Civil War arc because there's going to be people, everyone has quirks, you know what I'm saying? And there are going to be a lot of people that are very militantly opposed to the hero situation after an arc like this. They're going to be people that are going to be like, what are you talking about? This gave us all the more reason to trust heroes, especially if they come out on top. If they come out on top here, I feel like that's awkward considering this arc kind of like implying to me that the villains could potentially win, but they can still win in a Civil War regard, even if they lose this battle on this front right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that Civil War makes a lot of sense considering the Marvel influence on My Hero Academia. That's one of the biggest crossover events in Marvel history, was the Civil War event back in 2009 by Mark Millar. So if it goes there, holy fucking shit, imagine what that fucking looks like. You know what I mean? Like, because then the outcome of this, we're all talking about it like the heroes are going to win, the villains are going to win. If the villains win, we're going to go into an age of villainy where all the heroes are forced underground and society gets taken over by this paranormal liberation war. And it's this dystopian future that the heroes have to fight things back from. But it's like, or the heroes can win. And then what's the next villain? How do you top this? You know what I mean?
Well, and then you even have a dynamic of like within that Civil War shit where like students' parents could be siding different, on different sides of the conflict, and kids that are in school with like a resolute view on being a hero could have that mental like anguish and challenge of like, okay, my parents are on this one side of this shit. How do I fucking believe? Like, do I really want to fight my parents in this war potential?
Right. Yes. It's going to create such a crazy ground level, outlook
or my brother
on this
or whatever,
war.
My friend.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So I was the one that first asked, like, just in our show here earlier, does Hawks not killing Best Genius invalidate some of the things that he was saying? And you guys touched on a lot of that.
We were talking about this a couple months ago, I feel like.
Yeah, but even more so than that, Hawks definitely gave a actual corpse to Dabi or to the villains. I don't remember if he gave it directly to Dabi or not.
I think it was directly to Dabi, but or else he either gave a corpse to Dabi or he gave him the string clone. And then Dabi didn't check the body for some reason and just incinerated it instantly after identifying it. You know what I mean? Like that could be the situation or the explanation behind why Dabi doesn't know that he was given a fake body. You know what I mean?
Well, and whether the body's fake or not, it doesn't matter. A dead body was presented to the villains. And sure, Hawks killing one of his own heroes is a bigger deal than killing some rando that looks like Best Genius to fill the role. Or I'm giving you like maybe like a Full Metal thing. Like, we got all these prisoners here and we're going to use them to make a Philosopher's Stone. Okay, give me a prisoner that looks like Best Genius. Throw him in the body bag and then give him away. There's still that there. So I don't. When I was asking the question, I was trying to lead into this all that shit that you guys just said, which was great.
Sure.
Yeah. And I think that it doesn't invalidate it at all, because no matter what, I don't think a string clone was given, because have we seen an actual string clone?
Not yet. No.
Okay. That was us, our headcanon theorizing way back during that time.
Information that we're about to get now.
Right. Yeah. I feel like next chapter, Best Genius is going to be like, check it out, you guys. So this
Dabi,
is what we did, man.
It's like, yo, I saw you in a fucking duffel bag. What
is going on here? It's like, Dabi. Well, you didn't know that me, Best Genius, was over here. You know what I mean? Like, I could totally see it being like a flamboyant, like spectacle like that for Best Genius character.
Yeah, if we're getting this information about what happened between Best Genius and Dabi, I feel like it has to be pretty quick, being that we're nearing the end of the year, and we know how Manga.A, throw us some big shit towards the end of the year. So like, I couldn't imagine us to go into some deep amount of that, but I really want the same for the situation between Dabi and Skeptic, because this is really.
You
really
said that the
feels
Skeptic
like Dabi,
situation was awkward earlier.
Yes. I want to bring it back to Skeptic, because Skeptic gave him the equipment to film this, and they basically had this plan, these two together, which it feels like we talked was it maybe 2 weeks ago? Maybe it was even last week about, it must have been last week because it was
last week, yeah.
Yeah, Dabi has this whole, broadcast going on, which we kind of just came to the consensus that he had this, he made this himself, this was
without
really
Skeptic at all, yeah.
Without Skeptic at all, exactly. Where now it doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like Skeptic has been heavily involved in this entire thing, and that so it really feels like to me that Dabi has been running with the Meta Liberation Army or whatever for this entire time.
Yeah.
And maybe is the ones that found him and pieced him back together. And because it's like if Endeavor found a piece of his jawbone, I mean, you see, the bottom of his jaw is basically, surgically fit back on there.
Yeah.
Like somebody is, who found this random burnt up kid in the middle of the fucking forest and fixed him, right?
That's a really good question.
So like there has gotta be, I think there just has to be some big past with Dabi and maybe Redestro, the whole team.
Yeah.
And maybe the Meta Liberation Army are not fully running with the villains, especially since they've really been kicking Skeptic around like, fuck you, I'll beat your ass right now if you don't shut the fuck up, basically.
Like the
and he's like really taking it and not giving no opposition to it whatsoever. And it's
you could say he's used to it, or you could say he's working on something underneath. Before Nick gets into his point, because I see he's trying to get in there, I just want to throw this out there while it's relevant. This situation that you're talking about right now with Dabi and his potential history with the Paranormal Liberation War gives credence to my idea that I had last week when we were talking about like what the future of Dabi's character is going to look like after this. I could see him breaking away from the Paranormal Liberation War and the League of Villains in general, because we got dialogue from Compressed that was like, he never told us about any of this. You know what I mean? Like, that's crazy that he left this kind of information out. So it's obvious that Dabi has bigger plans outside of the League of Villains that he's going to pursue. Or maybe this is his coup d'etat right here, and he wants to go out in a blaze of glory, taking out Shoto and Endeavor. But I feel like, yes, this is a grandiose like reveal, but I feel like it's not going to end in like a kamikaze. I think that Dabi has a very clear plan here. He probably does want to smoke Endeavor and Shoto, but then leave. And if he can't, then he probably won't kill any of them and still leave. He's probably not going to kill himself to achieve this goal. So
So like to jump in a little bit, I really, really love what you're saying, Kiko. I just want to put a slight alternate theory that like there doesn't need to be a long backstory. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they did have a good chunk of time where both the League of Villains and the Paranormal Liberation Army were together. And obviously, like, Dabi has been very involved with the kind of like rooting out the fact that Hawks is a spy, right? Within the Paranormal Liberation Army. So that could be the extent of it. But I will definitely say that from the very beginning, Dabi has always been kind of separate from the League of Villains. He has not really cared as much as other people. We've commented on that several times on the show, and just like as y'all have been talking, like the more I think about it, the more I'm like, damn, this really does click that Dabi very much could have always been in the Paranormal Liberation Army camp this entire time. I think that would really hit hard for sure.
Yeah, that would slap.
Especially with if it's like, okay, Redestro or whatever, somebody finds him and they stitch him back together, figure out who he is, and they're like, okay, you're Endeavor's son? Oh shit, like we now have our number 2 under our belt to hoist as our messiah.
Right.
And that they're going to use him in that way, or even they propped him up as a leader, secretly, because no matter what, with him and Redestro, like Dabi has been privy to Meta Liberation Army information as well as MLA has been privy to Dabi information this entire time. They knew, Skeptic knew Dabi was Endeavor's son probably before the time skip.
That I think is the biggest point, right? Because as Compress said, the League of Villains, they didn't know that. So it's crazy that the Meta Liberation Army knew it, right? Like that I think is a huge point in favor of this theory.
What'd you say, Eagle?
They didn't.
They're saying that
Skeptic pointed out the fact that he did not know, and he said, "Oh, you were hiding a pretty big secret there, weren't you?" Something about his bloodline. He made a comment like, "Oh, pretty crazy bloodline you were hiding."
Yeah, I was last week or the week before. The last time that we saw them on the back
Skeptic,
of
the
Giganto
person
Mashle.
most heavily involved in this like hypothetical plot, didn't even know about it, then, you know.
So the wording there could definitely be taken that way. It could also be like, hey, you had this secret under your hat all the time. I knew what it was, but that's a pretty big secret you had.
Yeah.
Because it's just really awkward.
Yeah.
It's really awkward for Skeptic to be so heavily involved in broadcasting this. Like, so you didn't watch the video you edited?
Yeah,
and brought?
exactly.
Exactly.
And so, like,
Skeptic knew for sure. He edited
what
it.
Skeptic said last chapter was...
He said he edited on the fly, though, this chapter.
He said he edited what he edited on the fly was the Hawks footage.
Yes.
That had to be on the fly because they literally just recorded that like 20 minutes ago, if at most, right?
Yeah.
Now, what Skeptic said last chapter was quite the ace up his sleeve.
Yes.
That is very open-ended.
Yes.
Very open-ended in terms of what if he knew about the ace, the metaphorical ace.
He could just be commenting on it like because he knows that other villains are like around him, you know what I'm saying? Like, pretty crazy ace up his sleeve, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and then everyone else is like, yeah, that is a pretty crazy, you know, like that doesn't necessarily mean he doesn't know. He's just commenting on it, like, hey.
Exactly. He might not, but
he still could not. Yeah, he still could not.
Certainly, he edited the video, and that much is a slam dunk fact given this chapter.
His name is Skeptic, right? Like, so I mean, he is not taking things at face value. He is asking questions whether they're on the surface or given to the reader or not.
Yeah, and he has assumptions of his own. He has assumptions of his own of the situation that could be either right or wrong. If he is right about his assumption, then he still knew even though he didn't have the confirmation. So go ahead.
Play devil's advocate. It was outwardly stated that the twice video was edited. It was never stated or implied that the Dobby video was edited. More so that he gave him the video and said, throw that up, broadcast that shit to the world. Yeah,
for sure. And it could be at the last minute with no time for him to watch it. Yeah.
But Dobby
take the camera he gave him, record the video, and then like at the last minute say like, yo, broadcast that shit. I'm about to pop off. Like
It's still awkward to me that it's like, okay, you got these weird, like this whole side plan going on, way different than anything we're talking about. I'm going to help you blindly,
and I'm not going to ask you
with
about
my technology, and I'm not going to ask you about it when my name is Skeptic. Like, that's unfathomable to me.
Don't ask me questions, bitch. Just do what I say.
You're my underling. So it could be like that, but I mean, like at the same time, it's like, have we ever seen a situation where Dobby was like actually like giving orders to Skeptic that he was carrying out? I understand that Dobby is a general, you know what I'm saying? So technically he's above Skeptic. But
so is Skeptic. No, they're all their own generals.
Oh, I think general, I think Skeptic is a general, isn't he?
Skeptic's not a general.
Oh,
it was it's the main squad, the villain squad.
It's the League of Villains that are the generals, correct? And then the
Skeptic
Paranormal Liberation
is the same
War.
level as Dobby.
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay.
And so were all of the fucking front
Dobby
runners
is the
of
commander.
MLA.
Yeah.
Dobby is one of the commanders of the Guerrilla Warfare Regiment, and Skeptic is one of the commanders of the Intelligence Regiment.
Yes.
But they're the same rank.
Yeah.
They're the same rank, exactly.
Rank. Okay.
And every single named person in MLA and fucking the League of Villains are all commanders.
Yeah,
and
that's
they all stood on the stage together.
That's
all
right.
Linked in arms together.
I remember that now.
Yeah. So and it's like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're a fucking subordinate or not. When your name is Skeptic, like
you're asking questions.
it's exactly like it's Starscream, right? Like it's a Starscream thing. Like no matter what, you can be an underling and still have all these different motivations and
But I think what Eagle was saying is that like in response to Skeptic asking Dobby what's going on with this footage you want me to handle, Dobby could say, you're my underling, don't worry about that. But now we know that they're the same.
No.
Or maybe he's not his underling, we figured out now. So at the very least he could be like, just don't worry about it. Just do me a solid, bro. Just
do me a solid. And then we have Skeptic on the other side that we can ask.
You want me to waste my intelligence?
Yeah, why would Skeptic do that for free with no questions asked?
You're wasting all this time and intelligence that I could use for winning this war on making your little home video? Fuck out of here.
Yeah, with no information.
At the very least,
video's already made. Just throw that joint up.
No, but he still edited the Hawks footage though.
Yeah, at the very least, we have very big open plot points as to the potential rift within the League of Villains Meta Liberation Army. That's a huge plot point that I think will get very soon.
And I was so excited for the Meta Liberation Army to begin with, way back when they were introduced, because I love a third party, right? Like I just if we get third party shit going on here, this makes this fucking dynamic way crazier than just heroes versus villains. And you can have total fucking villain, total fucking hero, and then this whole faction of fucking people in the middle, you know, and it really changes just the dynamic of the story a lot, which would make sense going into like the second half of the story, you know, because that's what it feels like, right? Like maybe time skip, I don't know, full societal restructure is usually like, you know, a part 2-ish, you know, it's My Hero Shippuden or whatever.
Yeah, and I think the catalyst for that is this confrontation, especially if we're going into that civil war idea that I had a little bit earlier, where you have this societal framework that says only sanctioned, licensed heroes can use quirks in public. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big thing. That's the big, you know, driving factor behind the Paranormal Liberation Wars motivations is, why are you limiting us in this way? We all have quirks. We should all be able to defend ourselves from any kind of tyranny or any kind of, you know, evil. You know what I mean? And that's something that you can get behind. That's something that you can agree with. You know what I mean? So going into this civil war conflict where you have people that are seeing this war and choosing a side, especially after Shigaraki spits on camera, especially after Dabi spits on camera, you're going to see this huge split in society where they go, you want to know what? These motherfuckers are making sense. Society is going to, like, depending on the outcome of this shit, if the villains win here, then definitely we're going to see a whole bunch of civilians going, okay, we're on the villain side now. These motherfuckers make sense. Obviously, the world is changing. What side of history do you want to be on? And then you're going to have, you know, the other side of society who's going to be like, no, heroes, villains, what's going on here? Like, we should be fighting the bad guys. You know what I mean? So I think that is my favorite potential future of My Hero Academia. And I think that would be good for like an end game like plot of My Hero Academia, considering like the biggest theme is that morality is not black and white in this story. I mean, there's a lot of themes, but I feel like the most present one, at least in this arc, is that gray morality situation. So I mean, like, leading into a civil war kind of situation to restructure what's flawed about society, which is something that's been touched on a million times. I doubt that we're going to get so much dialogue and so much story and lore dedicated to showing the issue with this hero system that it's not going to be reformed at some point before the end of the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
Yeah.
I don't know. This chapter overall.
Hero though.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I was going to say is, like, I think Nickham's already said it earlier. Like, this is probably my favorite chapter, or at least like top 3 for me of all time.
It's big, it's huge.
One of the best chapters ever of Hero.
Yeah, for sure.
And think about how great this chapter was, and then think about, like, this chapter resonates with me on a very, very personal level, because Endeavor is very similar to my father, and I grew up in a house, like, I used to go, like you were talking about, how you revered your parents almost as a god, right? Like there's nothing that they could have said was any wrong. And it's like, my dad was always like my coach for all the sports that I played, and like I used to go and watch him play fucking sports, hitting home runs and shit. My dad killing it.
Crazy when you realize, yo, this person is flawed. You know what I mean?
Yes,
like, that's exactly a big hit for an indoctrinated individual to take, to know that their idol is not perfect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm very much so in the Toya boat. It's like my dad pushed me really, really, really hard to excel in all the sports. You know, it's like, if he wasn't my coach, he was at the game fucking yelling loud, right? Like, and whistling loud. So
man, let me take his spot. He's fucking up. He's gonna hear it when we get home. But let me pitch it for him real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, it's so, like, it just, this man, I was reading this thing and I was like,
that shit probably smacked. Yeah.
Damn. Like, and I was so glad that Endeavor is a little better than my initial outlook of him, and that a lot of this was cleared up, because, you know, I really didn't want him to be canceled, but it was looking like that was the way we were going. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, hell yeah.
Wowza.
Alrighty then.
Dude.
Loved it.
Well, then with that, I think we can go ahead and get right into the piece de resistance. Chapter 995 of One Piece. And yes, A Kunoichi's Oath is the name of the chapter. I almost forgot to say it. And yes, we finally get a fresh cover fucking something. Jesus Christ.
Something
like doesn't matter that it's not significant at all.
Yeah.
I don't care anything.
But
it's a fan request.
I actually am wondering if this is significant. So yes, this is a new reader request, right? But the squirrels on this cover are from Thriller Bark. These are Thriller Bark squirrels. Right?
Yep.
What if this Queen Oni plague thing is from Thriller Bark, from Oz, right? And later, Chopper on page 12 is saying, could it be that this virus is ... right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this is actually a hint that this queen virus is actually related somehow to Oz and Thriller Bark through these squirrels.
Through the squirrels.
Generally, I will agree with you that it's just a cover and maybe there's no reference at all. But
let me go off that sense because I got points about that here. Okay. And so I think a couple of things that are significant with, I mean, I guess the whole frozen Oni, ice Oni situation is Marco states Phoenix Fire has different properties. So he's just going to wipe clean everybody basically.
He's just going to heal everybody.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. And so, but I think when Chopper is thinking about, since he was saying, does this virus like freeze you from the inside or whatever? Is it possible that it's from the inside? And he's like, no, that shouldn't be. He's thinking like that shouldn't be possible, right? And it just feels like it's a skin infection virus, like that's either like bacteria or fungal, like. And I thought that he was actually analyzing exactly what's happening here and already concocting a way to heal himself. But Marco could also just swoop in and heal him too. Yeah. But
so what do you mean by like wipe clean?
Right, because like the fires of like Phoenix Fire is like cleansing and like purifying and like healing, right? So it's got healing
I got the
properties.
exact same vibe that Kiko did, that Marco is a doctor.
Yeah.
Marco's ability is Phoenix Fire.
Yep.
Marco is fighting against Big Mom. And she's like, whoa, Prometheus, why is you losing to flames? You know what I mean? And Marco says, Phoenix Flames has special properties. Fast forward a couple pages and to page 7. And Marco is looking over his shoulder and hearing, help me, I'm turning into an Oni. Yeah. And he goes, what's going on there? And tying all of these things together, I also got the big vibe that Marco will be able to just immediately cure the Oni plague with his fire.
Cleanse of any impurities.
I mean, there's a reason why it's an ice Oni, right? Like there has to be like
exactly.
It's
a lot of things that support that.
Marco's fire only heals people temporarily, though.
Is that true?
Is that what it says?
We got explicit dialogue from him on the island when he was healing the little girl's tiger. We got implicit dialogue from him saying, my shit only heals you for a little bit. That's why everybody is always coming to me constantly with these small ailments that I can only cure you of for maybe like a week or two. That's why he's saying everybody always has to keep constantly coming back because for anybody else, his Phoenix Flames only heal your ailments like temporarily.
And that was like 2 years ago, right?
That was dialogue we got from him on the island, on Whitebeard's island when Neko was going to visit him.
Oh yeah. The first time we saw him again since the time skip. Yeah.
Could it be that all he needs to do though is melt the Oni ice once it's over?
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Then there's nothing else for it to grow back.
If it is like an epidermal,
I could definitely see him like wiping them for now. And then that gives Chopper more time to come up with a cure before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love all of those options.
Gets the forces back on our side.
Yes.
For now.
Yeah. I just think it's maybe a little too I won't say too convenient. It fits too well, I guess, to have a fire healing heal the only ice plague
ice detriment, fire healing. That's too perfect.
It fits too perfect.
But I think that could be good if he swoops in and he's like, look, this is what I can do for now. But like this
Dr. Chopper,
Dr. Chopper, go in. And maybe even Law, maybe even like a little bit of Law, like the three doctors like team up and we get like a Marco Chopper like Law like kind of situation for the healing of this Oni situation.
If it's seeped into like the genetic aspect of their being, then Law is going to be needed to like splice away that, because he can open them up and like literally splice away fucking genetics.
I remember them saying that,
I would just really like if Chopper out doctors both of them, right? Like, and we need that, right? Like we need Chopper to show. I mean, we've seen him show many times, obviously his medical prowess, but the medical prowess of the Pirate King's doctor. Sure, at the time, at those times, like with Kestia or whatever the hell that we've seen thus far that Chopper has healed, but to see him with Whitebeard's fucking magical Phoenix doctor and outbeat fucking him,
and then the reality warper,
surgeon of death who can fucking just take whatever poison just out of you. It's like,
and you have to outbeat them with like traditional technical doctor or like science medical application would be crazy to see.
I would love that. Love that.
Yeah. Side by side. I mean, like, even though like Chopper we know is a better doctor than them, I think, or will be a better doctor than them by the end of the story at least. And even if we've seen him do things that are better than things that we've seen Marco and Law do, they're still more highly revered than Chopper is as a doctor. So him directly right next to them, outdoing them in front of everybody is, I think, what Kiko says he wants to see.
Which I think is something we'll definitely see, because I don't know. I think I've said this before, but I'm of the mind that Chopper is already shown in terms of medical knowledge. He is the best doctor in the world of One Piece that we've seen, bar none.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Without a fucking devil fruit breaking his fucking healing abilities. It's like when you have two other doctors whose devil fruit caters around healing, it's like it's not a fair fucking fight, and to have Chopper outdo them would just it's just the best thing. Like, you need that moment on the Pirate King's team, right? Like, that's just how it's got to go, right?
And maybe a lot of these like other crew equivalents, you know what I'm saying, of Straw Hat members there's all going to be these amazing moments where these highly revered characters inside of these respective classes are seeing the Straw Hat versions of them do wild things, and they go, okay, this is a Pirate King's crew. This doctor just fucking like smoked me on the doctor side of things, and I'm Marco. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are going somewhere, and then maybe we'll see, that same situation inside of other, pirate crew equivalents of these characters.
Especially if you think of like Crocus couldn't heal Roger, right? And if Luffy suffers some kind of similar detriment, okay, I've used my devil fruit so much that I've shaved all these years off my life.
Ivankov's hormone.
Ivankov's hormone, and like just whatever, presumable detriment that Luffy is going to suffer towards the end of this story, to have Chopper heal him when Crocus couldn't heal Roger. I mean, it would be a lot of parallels with that Luffy, to have.
Yeah. Luffy can't die from sickness.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, it invalidates Chopper's dream, right?
Yeah, kind of.
If he can't cure Luffy, his dream of making the panacea is invalidated. He can't save the one person he would want to save the absolute most.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, but there's a difference between making a panacea for every single known disease and some sort of side effect of devil fruits that we don't know of yet that is incurable unless through magic. I mean, like, you can still have a thing that cures all the diseases in the world and still have Luffy die of a unfortunate, attribute
devil
of his
fruit
devil fruit
side effect.
I mean, devil fruit side effect to me is different than like a disease.
That's what I'm saying. That's literally what I'm saying.
That's exactly. What he's talking about. So like,
it won't invalidate Chopper's dream if he still makes a cure for all diseases, but not all devil fruit
related sickness
detriments. Yeah, like you're saying.
Well, that's why I said sickness.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
If it's something that has to do with the lifespan of his devil fruit, like Gear Second, the M.A.N.G.A shot, like
Yeah.
If he's like, damn, I'm legitly just out of life.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. But like,
I'm out of
as far
life.
as like a sickness, like Roger had, like he's like, oh, I'm sick.
Oh,
and, like,
sure.
this shit's killing me.
But that's if Roger had a sickness and not just what was called a sickness and will be revealed to be a devil fruit detriment. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Which I think a lot of people theorize. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, definitely.
Oh boy.
How
about this too long?
Same time though, man, I really feel like it's possible they didn't have a devil fruit at all, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Just because, like,
it's theories, baby.
That's how theories work.
With how adamant Shanks is about not having a devil fruit, and with how angry Buggy is about actually having a devil fruit, like to this day, he's
because they saw their captain die because of a side effect of a devil fruit.
Yep, that or they don't want to. Yeah, that's another. That's good. I was gonna say they could be so adamant in that mindset because they saw how beast what Roger was without a devil fruit. They're like, we don't need this shit, and I do not want this shit because I can swim still.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's definitely weight on both sides.
Yes, definitely.
But how about this Sue Long, Carrot, and
Moon Raid?
Yo, this fucking team attack is so beautiful. Fuck you, Prospero. I'm so glad because I think all the time I see this damage all the time. You know what I'm saying? In fiction.
Prospero.
Oh wait, Sparrow, whatever, dude. I don't fucking know.
But it just sounds like Ross Perot,
Perot,
1992.
Ran for president against Bill Clinton a million years ago. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't. Okay,
Y'all are just now noticing that?
Oh, I don't know.
It's the first time I've I'm laughing because
heard it
laughing,
like really registered the way he's saying it because he says it like that all the time.
This is how I like.
This is the first time I got Ross Perot from it.
I just heard Ross Perot so much, and all I could think of is like Dana Carvey playing him on Saturday Night Live. I don't know. That's all I could think of.
But no, I love this Sparrow damage. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I see this. I see this damage dealt in anime and manga all the time, and this is like top 5 ouchiest. You know what I'm saying? Like damages that I see, like a slice to the eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like we were just reading Gamaron. Gamma fucking slices that fucking dude's eyes out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, oh, I feel like this is like the damage that I want to take like the least out of like everything that I've seen in anime. So seeing like Sparrow get this double pronged eye gouge / damage is like super satisfying because I'm still tight about Pedro. And this is just so satisfying. Yeah.
Did anybody feel like, I don't know, maybe a little disappointed that it ain't Carrot by herself, that Wanda's in the joint with her?
Yeah.
I really wanted Carrot to, because Carrot's in Sulong form now. Like, it's a big difference than when they fucking dealt with Sparrow before. And they had the whole fucking, like, or not whole, but a big portion of the Big Mom crew all, fucking with them when they're trying to get Sunny away from fucking Whole Cake at the time. And fucking Sparrow's basically candy coating everybody and about to kill him and shit. Like, it just would be a big. I don't know. I just really, really, really wanted Carrot
I think we
to
still
fuck
see
him
that.
up in Sulong
I think we still see that.
Time,
I think we still see that. I think Prospero gets Wanda out of here, and then Carrot and him square off ultimately.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel like Sparrow's kind of like slept on. Like he might be a lot stronger than a lot of people like to think he is. Just because he's a goofy, gaggy kind of character. He's a perorin. But like he is strong. Literally the eldest son.
Yeah.
He's the first son of the Charlotte family.
And this is where we're gonna see him activate for real. You know what I'm saying? Like he had his time on Whole Cake Island where he was like, the star screamy, like gag, like kind of like character in the background where he's like riding for Big Mom, but still like ultimately wants to take over or usurp that role. And so like we got like
and even then he sunned Chopper and Brooke.
Yeah.
No sweat.
Yeah, so we've
seen sweat.
We know we know just from his rank that he's wildly capable, but like Eagle was saying, he's been in more of a gaggier role. You know what I'm saying so far, and now we have him here in this situation where I feel like we're really about to see him turn the fuck up, like actually. You know what I mean?
And he didn't brandish a candy bow and arrow at Marco if he couldn't physically hurt him. So he definitely has the hockey to hurt him.
The hockey.
And Sparrow is definitely, okay, so you have the like sweet generals, that's what they're called, I thought. Yeah, the whatever. So I would say he's gonna be below than Snack, of course. Snack was like the lowest of the fucking sweet generals. If that's wrong, somebody should correct me because that's what I'm gonna keep saying. So Peril Sparrow, I mean, maybe he's even less than like Daifuku and Oven, but like that would be it. Like those, yeah, I feel like Daifuku and Oven and Peril Sparrow are all in about the same power ranking that are one tiny tier below the Sweet Generals. And Katakuri is above the other Sweet, you know, it's like you got the 3 Sweet Generals, or maybe even just Katakuri, then you got Smoothie and Cracker, and then you had Snack below them. But then below that, I would say they're pretty much all close to the same power. So Peril Sparrow can definitely put in a lot of work. But
I might even say like, well, I guess there's a progression, and you know, the younger siblings could be stronger. But I almost feel like, you know, he probably was a Sweet General at one point, and maybe just got, you know, either moved up into a more strategical rank, and like she put the other kids in these ranks. But I don't know.
Hell yeah.
Snack seems like kind of a bitch to me. I don't know. I feel like Sparrow's he's doing more.
We don't have anything. We just don't have anything from Snack other than Yarouge beat him. Like that's like all you know about him, right? Like it's and Yarouge is not. Yarouge is gonna, I think, would handle Peril Sparrow too, punch that candy into oblivion. So like,
think so?
I think Urouge is like super underrated as far as like his capabilities inside of the supernova. I think that like, I think he's pretty high ranking, and we just haven't seen much from him yet, so we just assume. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But I think that there's a reason why he's tied to Sky Islands. I think that there's a reason why he has an ability like the way that he does with redirecting power absorbed or whatever it is. I think he like the damage he takes, he turns into physical strength, right? Yeah.
Like, I thought he just
kind of like that. It just got bigger, but it looked like he was absorbing blows a little bit, but not.
I think I remember it was like some kind of power redirection, which is historically
damage absorption, which you then turn into like strength or physical capability is pretty much what it is. I think
because on Shabandi, he did take a few hits, and then he grew up,
and then he bulked
bigger,
up,
and then he took some more hits, and then got shot like in the neck by fucking Kizaru. So like, we really didn't get any firm, but it definitely felt like power redirection.
Right. So he would be like a Sebastian Shaw, like inside of like Marvel Comics. That's like his exact power, and like that ability is used as a plot device very often. You know what I'm saying? In fictional superpower storytelling. So I can see Urouge coming in with a way more impactful role that like really solidifies him on like the hierarchical like ladder of like supernova capabilities, like right up there, like probably right underneath. Like if it, you know,
people always say he'd be an incredible matchup for Luffy based on his ability. Because Luffy's pretty much all blunt force. He's taken all blunt force. People say like if Urouge can last long enough, just taking the damage before he like, because it seems like he can only turn it once, right? Like he takes a certain threshold of damage and then he uses that to like, but it seems like from what we've seen, he can only transfer once, right?
Yeah, so he kind of fat gums it.
So I've seen it. I've seen people say like, if he can last Luffy out until he goes, you know, take a few Gear 4th hits or whatever, last him out, like he could probably beat Luffy because he could take all that fucking Gear 4th damage.
Sounds good.
Sounds crazy. That would be crazy.
But so how about Big Mom here?
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say like, am I the only one who thinks that the art in this chapter is like super exceptional than like what we've been seeing like in the last
I do think so. And as long as we're talking about Big Mom and
page
Queen
7, like just like beautifully drawn.
Well, yeah, with Big Mom here, this I think is very, very important that she is stating illicitly like, I don't want to waste any of my souls fighting Marco, and I only have whatever my soul container, which is probably low because of I don't know how the fight went, or just her chasing the Sunny throughout Whole Cake, losing all her fucking, you know, because she was starving, which I think there's some connection there. I mean, I guess,
and she's playing an away game right now, so it's like, where does she get more souls if she runs out? You know what I mean?
Exactly. That's kind of where I was going, and not only that, we've got dialogue.
Bitch ass samurai on the battlefield. She gonna fucking give me that shit, bitch.
Yeah, it's true too.
Sure.
I can see that.
But yeah, so we've gotten dialogue way in the past that the Yomi Yomi no Mi is the or Yami Yami no Mi is the fucking most evil fruit. Like the darkness fruit is the most evil fruit like created. And it really, 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 really feels like the soul fruit is the most evil fruit created, right? Like you literally have to take people's lives in order to do battle. So like you really can't get stronger without taking people's lifespan. It's a really, really, I mean, it's just
I think that
crazy to
sounds
me
more
than any
evil
other-
on paper because it's like, yeah, I'm taking your soul, but I think the reason why the Yami is stated to be the most evil is because it specifically negates other devil fruit abilities. So like inside of the devil fruit system, that's like, oh my god, like that's like holy shit, how dare you? Like how could you do that? You know what I mean? Like that's my power. You know what I mean?
And you could
That's just
probably
like
use
one faceted, you know. It's
you
like
could probably
one
use Big
facet,
Mom's
you know.
fruit for good if you wanted to, right? Like give you some souls to
From who,
extend
though?
your life. I don't know, from someone else, from a
yeah,
bad guy.
Yeah. But there
That's actually
could be
also
positive
implicitly stated
applications.
is that you cannot put soul into quote unquote another. I don't
Two
know the
souls
wording,
can't share
but
one.
It was implied
vessel.
that you can't give another living being life. You can only put soul into an inanimate object.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
In that sense, it definitely seems evil.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, shit. As far as getting more souls, like everybody on this battlefield is terrified of her. All she's got to do is literally look down one time and go, leave or rifle. You ain't give me fucking 80 million years.
See,
bitch,
but
from all you
people-
fucking samurai.
But these are samurai we're talking about here. They would die before giving their soul, right? Like
True.
it's if it's you know, that's the thing that's always kind of confusing to Big Mom. Like is she can't just run willy nilly and just grab souls out of people and eat them, right? Like she basically has to make them agree. So
no, all they got to do is fear her. That's the only requirement. Fear.
See, but does she get to actually? So
the fear is the condition that allows her to take without consent.
Yeah,
there
so
can either be consent
like,
or fear is the requirement. That's why Jinbei was able to say, like, I'm not scared of you, bitch. You can't take my shit.
Yeah, but does that mean she gets to take it and use it, or she can just suck it out of you and it's kind of evaporated, right? Like it feels like if I'm giving it to you with consent, that is a good condition, which I know this isn't Hunter, but like to have a condition on your devil fruit to say, if I'm getting consent on getting a soul, then I can utilize it however I want because it was given to me.
But if I'm not getting consent, I'm just going to rip it out of you, and then whatever happens to it, it goes into the
it's like, what if the
you
soul,
don't got it no more?
Yeah, and the soul, you know, would fight back, presumably, right? Because it wasn't offered. But yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, that'd be cool if we ever get that information. I don't think anything like that has been, you know, specifically stated. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe there is some little dialogue there that kind of hints to that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think as far as we know, whatever soul she gets, she can use, but who knows?
I love how Apu uses Tonfa.
I know. Tonfa is perfect.
That is
Tonfa's
so
my
perfect
favorite
for
weapon.
him.
It's one of them.
Literally the
Top 3 to 5
perfect weapon for Apu.
Yeah.
Especially because he has extra leverage on defense with that extra like joint, you know what I'm saying? That like flat parallel support on the Tonfa from his long armness. Yeah.
That does make a lot of sense. Drake in hybrid form.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
We've seen that.
Yeah, we have.
Oh, have we seen that?
Yep.
Yes.
Super ugly.
Yes.
We like roasted the shit out of it. We roasted the shit out of him the first time we saw it. Yeah.
Oh, and something when you guys were talking about this cover story earlier that I forgot to bring up, I remember I wanted to now that I've seen Queen again.
Yeah.
Maybe insignificant because like Kumachi also had this same kind of design on his shirt where it's like the vertical stripes, but on these squirrels, one of them has a shirt with vertical stripes, a similar design to Queen. One of them has a dress with polka dots, similar design to Big Mom.
Oh.
I don't know. It's something interesting I noticed.
Wait a minute now. That you want to know what? Hold on. Do we see Queen in this chapter?
Yeah.
We do. He's on page 10.
Like 11?
No, 11. Sorry.
Okay.
11.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. Okay, so yeah, he does kind of have like, I can't really draw the line though. But like I'm trying to like see because this squirrel on the cover page has like a luchador mask.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like that, and I think is, oh yeah, because these are the squirrels from Thriller Bark and they had a luchador mask in Thriller Bark.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
And was this squirrel wearing that same shirt in Thriller Bark?
Oh, I don't remember that much.
Yeah.
I just remember that.
Well, and the thing I was saying,
like
Kumachi,
zombie squirrels or whatever.
Perona's bear, Kumachi also had.
Thank you for telling me who that was. I had no idea who you were talking about.
Yeah, Kumachi, yeah, the bear that Perona had.
Yeah,
I didn't remember either. I just went through it.
Bearsy is how I,
yeah. It was
translated as Bearsy. Yeah. So, talking about this panel that we're at with Queen here, we do have to say it. But what I want to say before we say the other stuff that everybody else has thought about many times, I just want to read the dialogue. And that other guy's Roronoa, I'm going to say Zoro because I'm not a heathen. And that other guy's Roronoa Zoro, always best to take out the number 2s and 3s quickly. So that's what people are going to focus on, but I want to focus on the next part. And they got Judge's son among their group too. Vinsmoke Judge is who he's thinking about. Ellipses. This means, obviously, with Queen being the plague fucking creator and just like they're scientists, right? They're both scientists, and they definitely got some kind of pass together, which this means to me more than anything. Sanji is going to 1v1 Queen, and Zoro is going to 1v1 King. There is going to be true 1v1. Zoro is not killing Kaido now. I'm back off that train because of this one fucking panel. Because of this, it was
good while it lasted. We had him for a bit.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. I was there for a brief stint. It felt good, man. I was like cool on the internet and stuff for a little while. But yeah, obviously the bigger picture here is that Zoro is number 2, Sanji is number 3, and Jinbei is not number 3. I mean, presumably.
I think something funny that could happen with this Queen shit, though, is like, obviously there's a weird dynamic with him and King where they're trying to, like, you know, they both consider themselves superior. So maybe just he goes after Sanji, thinking that he is the second in command because obviously he has his, I don't know. To me, it's weird. He has the bounty poster of Sanji over Zoro's. And also Sanji has a higher bounty. So it's feasible. Yes, Sanji has a higher bounty. So it's possible Queen could say, this guy might be the number 2. I'm going to go after him. It'll look good on my name because Queen didn't take out the second strongest. Or King didn't take out the second strongest dude. But it actually turns out, you know, it's 3-on-3, 2-on-2. You know,
I like that.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. But yeah,
we got Usopp getting in his little Duffy bag. You know what I'm saying? He got the granatas. Give it.
Something that's impressive to me about that is that like Usopp and Nami have been clearly taking like multiple headbutts from Ulti.
Yeah,
because they're all bloodied up.
Each, but
wait, no, this is Kaien Boshi. My bad. Right? Or Midori Boshi.
I think
Midori Boshi. Yeah.
Anyway,
but yeah, I think it's one each. I
think they've been took a few.
Yeah, I mean it's off screen. It's hard to say. I think it's one each, especially with the second one.
Wait, what are you talking about? I'm sorry.
How many headbutts have they taken from Ulti?
Have Nami and Usopp taken off screen from Ulti, and it's at least one each because they both got blood coming from the forehead.
Yeah.
At least one each. Yeah, like I was saying, I thought they took like a few each, like multiple, which was impressive to me, but.
That would be extremely impressive to me.
Because these are armament hockey, fucking like damn near conquerors hockey headbutts with all the lightning coming off of them. Yeah.
Even taking one each and being fucking coherent and not knocked out or not having your head exploded is a huge feat. Just if it's just one, because this is a fucking armament fucking hockey dinosaur, headbutt dinosaur. Somebody can say the name. I can't say the name of that dinosaur.
Headbuttiosaurus.
I like that one. That's easy.
This is a flashback to Alabasta to me, right? Because it's like
obviously
absolutely.
Mr. Four.
And so this is Mr. Four, Miss Merry Christmas, right? So in that fight, Usopp takes the damage he does, and it was unbelievable to us back then that he survived. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like this situation here where it's like, okay, it's 2 years later, he's had copious amounts of training, you know what I mean? And obviously just like Shonen protagonist progression of surviving fights and being stronger coming out of them, you know what I mean? So we have all of that leading into this right here, to where yes, his head should have exploded, but it's the Usopp of 2 years later that survived a 5-ton bat to the face that he was literally going Mach 3 into. So it's like, I feel like it's not too crazy that like Usopp's been taking hits like this, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and for everything that people say about Usopp, it's like you're Yasopp's son. You got X amount of like passive durability that you were born with. Like you just gotta have, you know, like because it's just it's the only thing that makes any sense, right? Like because it's like, how does this guy who's been so scared to do anything, scared of Clawhador taking this metal bat to the face, you know, literally I mean, a month or 2 months later in story time on the ship, you know,
not
like it's,
even.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't think that, I'm just not one of these people that are going to say that Usopp is, you know, going to just get wrecked every time. I want to see one of these times, you know, in an arc or two, probably on Elbaf. This might be good warm up. All right, I got my head cracked on this one. I got a little bit more durability next time, and he's actually able to stand up to a blow like this eventually, and fight back out of it.
Imagine Usopp, like someone like being over Usopp with like a club or some shit at one point in the story, and they just go down for like, no, Usopp, and it hits the forehead and just no movement. Boom, line of blood like rolls down. Usopp like looks up like, I ain't taking this shit no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't getting my nose bent 7 different directions every arc. No more.
Yeah.
But goddamn, Nami in this scene.
Yes, the moment from Nami. Yeah. Finally heard declaration in Luffy's name.
Yeah.
Love it. Just fantastic.
Yeah.
And I will say, I was concerned what she was going to say. I was like, no, you can't be slandering your fucking captain here. And then like, to just flip it, you know, Luffy will never stop, you know what I mean? Like, she riding.
Well, and it's like Oda tries to tease that like or earlier like aspect or personality trait inside of Nami of being like a cat burglar, you know, like a Selena Kyle, a cat woman. Like you don't know what side they're on. Very fickle, very, you know what I'm saying? Switch sides at the drop of a hat. That's how her character was introduced. This is a scene that's trying to play back into those character traits, so it's showing growth and progression. Obviously on Nami's part with the declaration, but
because we've gotten this from almost all the Straw Hats at this point. I think maybe Robin is the only one left that we have to get it from, like in a situation of duress and like high stakes where they could die type shit. Like they declare like, no, my captain is the one
from
like,
the heart,
about to be that dude
from the diaphragm.
And we finally get this from Nami, and I'm actually really glad about this because I literally like earlier this week was like in a discussion with some people on social media about Nami's loyalty and the fact that she would also like, just I made the point like it was just some toxic post about like, oh, Zoro's the most loyal Straw Hat, and I'm like, dog, they're all loyal as fuck and would literally die for Luffy or his dream at the drop of a fucking hat. Yeah. And they're like,
but Zoro will die the most.
Not Nami or Usopp. Not Nami or Usopp. Well, no, see it. No. people always say the pain, but they don't like to bring up the fact that Sanji was literally about to take that pain too. And Zoro told Sanji, no, you're more important to Luffy achieving his dream. I'm about to die here. You go on. But we'll leave that where it is.
Yeah. Sanji would have died.
Yeah, so we finally get hell no. Sanji's durable as fuck.
Anyway, I'm just
durable, but Sanji's also out here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Keep going.
Don't get off my mans.
I'm sorry.
I don't like to bring up the shit that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but hey,
I got you.
Not Sanji's, but Nami's declaration this chapter was fire.
Yeah.
Do we think that Otama is going to start hitting people with the Kibi Dongos?
Kibi hours. Yeah, she's about to you know what I'm saying? It's gonna
and
be
she can officially control smiles, right? So like that's big in this battle for sure.
Yeah, and so how we should talk about that because she can control smiles. Can she control actual Zoan fruit users?
Right.
I would think that is a little too much. I would think that maybe if they do eat a Kibidongo that they're like conflicted. They're like, no, Kaido, I gotta do my thing, but oh, the little cute girl, man. But they're like, no, and they're gonna fight it back. Like they're gonna try to fight it.
I can see
I totally get your apprehension about giving someone such an overpowered ability, but I will just say that we've had similarly overpowered characters in the stories before. Sugar, for example, unbelievably overpowered character, right? Yeah. So what in the world is the Kibi no Mi, or what is this devil fruit? The Dongo, it's not Dongo no Mi, it's too many syllables, but like whatever her devil fruit is, right? Isn't this what it's for? to take over zone type or animal type people. So like if she can control zones, I will not be surprised in the slightest.
Yeah, and it's all about the execution too. I think we can
yeah.
trust Oda with a plot device like this personally.
Yeah.
I think the smiles is a good like place to leave it on, and I think a good justification for that would be the fact that within the smile users, there's actually like that separate animal being, right? Like there's always that beast coming out of their arm or their stomach or whatever that is an actual lion or actual giraffe or whatever the fuck, which is the beast that she's controlling. And I think since it's a part of the human body that they're controlled in succession or whatever, in unison. But with an actual zoan fruit where it's like the human with animal properties, I don't think it would work the same.
Yeah,
I could see either way, but it's a very, I think you raise a very good point.
Yeah,
for sure. I could totally see it going that way.
But
yeah, I think it'd be cool
if she was controlling zones, like Nick said, I wouldn't be mad.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be mad, but I think it'd be cool if it was just smiles, right? Because that would be enough of a time shift to where it's like, okay, your people are my people now, but like you still have your people still. You know what I mean? I'm not taking all of your.
There's no way I can get King now to be on my team. Like that's too much.
I mean, you gotta make him eat the thing, right? So like,
and he's got a fucking like gas mask on, so it's like, how are you gonna get that in there unless he's in like pterodactyl form and he's got the
people that
can easily.
This is gonna be the pairing we see. It's Kibidongo in the slingshot. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go, bro.
I've been hearing that said for a while, but
I didn't even think about it until right now.
People legitimately think she's gonna toss a Kibidongo in Kaido's mouth and like the fight is over type shit. Like it's
that ain't gonna happen.
Hell,
I don't think that zones. I don't think the zones function the same at all. The true zones.
That makes sense to me.
But what if she gets Hamlet on her side, and then you got Hamlet doodooing on people, from up top his fucking.
The strategic doodoo drop from the top balcony.
You control him.
Line up
and you
the trajectory.
Run off the shore. Kill yourself, please.
for existing.
Remove yourself from existence in this comic, please.
Uninstall life.exe.
Go ahead, jump off that waterfall, my guy.
Oh man! Holy shit! Are we good?
Yeah.
But,
I think I'm good.
Fantastic chapter. I love it.
I think that's about it for this chapter.
Yeah. Wow. Holy moly.
Well, with that, I think that will do it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you did, make sure you slap a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell to stay up to date on when the content is coming out. Make sure you hit that motherfucking comment section. Let us know what you thought of this week in Jump.
Clack, clack.
Any mistakes we made, questions you got, whatever the fuck, chop it up. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you visit that link tree in the description box down below where you can find links to any and all of our online communities, audio listening platforms to consume the podcast on, as well as links to support the podcast if you'd be so kind, like the link to our Patreon where you can subscribe to extra content we release, ranging from early access to a second weekly Shonen-centric podcast that we do. And while you're down there, also timestamps, you can skip spoilers and whatnot, skip to segments that you want to hear. So, with all that out of the way, this will be another stupendous week in Jump, a stupendous episode of the Project Manga Podcast wrapping up. I'm your host, Eagle.
Peace, y'all. Let's get go.
Noxie.
And Nickums.
Sarabada.